Good evening, everybody. It's your wonderful windmates, your cruise ship captain, chatreuseproxy, ever at your service. Today, or tonight, I should say, is my very last stream before I'm back in college for the semester. That's right, your girl has her first class 13 hours from now, 9:40 a.m. It is currently 8:11 where I am at the moment, and I'm just going to look to finish off as well as I have started my career. Always treats served delicious. That's always the eternal thing. With me, of course, though, is one person who's been crashing on the streaming couch with me, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, it's me. It's Clenny, High Priestess, and all around Crasher.
Yes, you have been crashing. Speaking again real quick, your Fuji tech had just kind of like crashed on my side, so I made sure it's working.
Okay.
Okay, no, it's working now. You just need to speak, because it just didn't refresh when I changed scenes. But hopefully everybody's doing well today. We're gonna look to just, enjoy ourselves, do what we can, and quite frankly, just have ourselves a good time all around, yeah? Because fact is, with this being my very last stream, I mean, well, yeah. It's not gonna be my full last stream for forever. It's just gonna be, I'm gonna be reduced to drawer streaming, or just kind of like, I'll announce by the day for spectrums and everything in between, as always, yeah? But hope everybody can just enjoy themselves, chill out, because we're just gonna do what we can with everything and anything in between, yeah?
Yeah.
And let me adjust the no board, make sure it's a good size. There we go, that should be good. Everybody should be able to see everything now. We're just gonna get back on to cooking everything as usual. To CSD. God, I love this game. But how have you been doing, sweetie?
Not too badly. I've just been having myself a bit of a chill day. Well, actually, that is a lie. I have been very busy, baby, today.
Well, tell me about it then.
I basically woke up at 5 a.m. after having my good night's rest.
A great day for
And
chef.
you know, I got some good shit out of the way. Before the time crept up and it was time to do Monday morning things where all the companies open up and I have to ring up because guess who's moving house? It's me. And I had to ring up a bunch of people today and then I had to go out.
Incoming food truck.
Who ended up going to shopping. Left a load of cardboard boxes home, which
probably
hurts. So I just took it. Guess what? We're back in the engine. And then I've just been chilling out. I'm having a bit of an odd night because I was super tired at like 9:30 and got into a bit of a, not a scrap, but like, a thing with my housemates, like about whether I should go to bed or like play games or whatever. And I basically just decided to like fuck it. And at some point, I think I ended up downing like a cup of coffee with about, I don't know, 5 sugars in it.
That's kind of, I don't know, a problem, in my opinion. If you're forcing yourself to do that just to stay awake, that doesn't sound like the very best thing that you could be doing for yourself. I'm gonna just be honest with you, girl.
Yep. The results were fine. I'm still here. So...
And yeah, you are living, but even then, it's the fact of like you had forced yourself up earlier with just what you were doing in that regard, yeah? So we're just trying to look out for you now.
Amazing.
It'll probably last for another like hour or so, and then I'll go to bed.
But we're just looking out now. We are just looking out, yeah?
Of course.
Because that's just what we gotta do, and I messed up the day because I fat-fingered once. That
Hello,
always
Chef.
hurts.
Good luck today.
That hurts a lot. Just mess up the whole day, just one fat finger away. Ah! But it's whatever. It is whatever. As for me, I was talking about it a lot on Twitter, but I had a eye appointment today, so funny stories to go with that actually. I hadn't had an eye appointment ever since 2020 because of COVID. I didn't actually get a chance to have my eye appointment at all because, things closed up. We really can't exactly do anything about that exactly so. So, the funny thing is that I would have, usually college really would have started by now, but because it's a holiday, Martin Luther King Day, we technically don't start I say technically, yeah, we just don't start until, well, tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So, because of that, I got really lucky in the fact that they called in and said, hey, we had a cancellation on our initial 9 a.m. What's his face? We had a cancellation on our initial 9 a.m. appointment for, yeah, the eye doctor. So they rang up a call saying, since you weren't able to make it last time, if you want, we can slot you in this time around. And it was like, yeah, we'll gladly take that chance to go up. Haven't had an eye test in 5 years. That's kind of, I don't know, really bad. It's like missing a year. It's like they did say that they had sent out a not a brochure, but kind of like a letter saying, hey, your eye appointment is due, so you might want to get yourself over here sometime. Apparently, but we probably just never got it due to that was probably when the post office just kind of shat the bed with everything. But the main thing is, you need to take care of yourself, and your eyes are no exception, because if we're online all the time, you don't know how bad your eyes are getting. I'm just being honest here, because, my family has had a bad history of always needing glasses for everything, and I wouldn't say, none of us have really gotten too legally blind, at least in my, nearby family, I guess, but, that's still a cause for concern if that's just kind of if your nature to is just, yeah, I haven't had an eye appointment and I really don't care. No. What are you doing? Care about your eyes. You kind of need them to see, which is a vital, a vital thing in this day and age. Prescription hasn't changed in that time. Your prescription can still change in 5 years. It was technically 2 years for me because, this year just started, but my prescription actually got a little better. I went from being a 2.25 to actually being a what's his face? Just a straight 2. My eyes got better in this 1 year span.
If you're straight 2, you can wear shop-bought glasses.
What?
You can go to a store, there isn't even an optician's, and they sell 2, 3, 4, reading glasses.
Oh yeah. I know. I get you now. But my point still stands. You can't just be like, oh, my prescription's fine, just write it off. You still get it checked in, for crying out loud. That's what, I don't know, a normal visit to the doctors is like. Eye doctor or not. You're making sure that nothing has changed, because you're not the expert here on your eye's health, quite frankly. And call me a little, worrisome doting, whatever you want to call it, but I'm just, I want to say I'm spitting hot facts when I say this, of just, you need to take care of yourself, boy!
My last eye test was in about July, August, and it confirmed what I have known for the last 8 years, which is I have perfect eyesight.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, anything should still go on in that little span of time, is my point,
On it,
And I'd rather not leave it up to chance of just the fact that, hey, oh, we could have prevented this if you came this one time, if you came 1 year. It's just preventative, and, what's the saying? Inch prevention is worth worth a pound of cure? Or whatever that saying is?
No,
Because, there's, yeah, it'll cost you money or whatever, but I'd rather take that than permanent damage that could have been, prevented.
That probably hurt.
I feel like this is both a hot and a cold take right now. Because I'm not getting too much response back, but then again, knowing some people in chat, this is probably sounding like, oh, you're just being, paranoid. No! I'm trying to be smart for your sake! People, take care of your gosh darn health!
mean, some people just can't understand that.
If people can't be bothered, let them bite them. Let that bite them in their butt. But if you're just in my chat here, you're playing by my rules, and my rules say, take care of yourself, gosh darn it. Like, seriously. It isn't that hard to be able to do.
Let's have some fun today.
Because it's... I'm getting a little incensed on this topic, but it just really is the facts.
Yeah.
Because... It's the... Okay, it's something that people really like nowadays, which is something called apathy. As in, I don't care about it because it doesn't affect me. No! You should care, because when it affects you, on the other side of the argument, why does nobody care about the problems that I'm going through? Jeez. Look at you on the other side of the coin. You didn't care about it until it started affecting you. Therefore, I shouldn't care about it because it's not affecting me. That is a very bad mindset to have, I should just say first and foremost, because it is a very negative mindset that affects a lot more people than just yourself that you're thinking about. Because until it happens to you, a loved one, anything in between like that, you're not gonna think twice about it. You're just gonna be like, whatever, not me, could care less. No! You should care, because if it ever happens to you, how much support are you gonna be able to garner on yourself? Not much. I don't think so. This is just... I don't know. I really want to unironically say we live in a society, because I feel like this is a very hot and cold take of just people not wanting to care about their health. But then again, knowing just the state of the world that we're in right now, I really wouldn't put it past people. That's not me trying to be mean, but that's just me trying to just like, say the plain truth, because I've seen both sides of the spectrum, to people being super preventative to the point of needing everything like done by the butt, spick, and span, and people who are really just kind of like, nah, nothing's happening to me right now, why should I care for the future? I don't like where this is going, people. Once again, call me a little bit, I guess you'd say, paranoid? If you want to put it to that logical extreme, and I wouldn't fault you for it. At the same time, like, look, dude, it's my life. If you're gonna judge me how I live my life, don't, like, well, I'm just going to judge you silently from the side if your life turns out to be a lot shittier because of your bad eyes. I'ma just be honest. Because, like, look, I did all that I could. I don't want to necessarily force people to do things, but fact is that some people kind of need to just be told, like, hey, this is the raw truth. You need to take care of yourself, or do this, or do that, because it's like, oh, jeez. I have so many stories from, okay, I had a friend in high school who was very much so on the eccentric end. I have so many stories I could tell about him, from wanting to go, to a convention, rooming with somebody that he's never met before, just on the internet in exchange for favors, which I am not liable to tell on stream for probably pretty obvious reasons from the way that I'm wording it, to other things, such as which is a lot more tame, but still bad, of literally would not eat unless somebody told him to, because he just never felt the need to. Yeah, the guy passed out like every other day, and he was like, oh, why am I passing out? Dude, you're not feeding your body! Your body is literally shutting down because you aren't feeding it any fuel!
Oh boy.
I have had some really extreme ends on friends of just how they just don't know how to take care of themselves. And I'm gonna get incensed on this, because even if you are internet stranger number 1, number 2, fact is that you are still a person that, I don't know, needs to be taken care of one way or another. And quite frankly, it is downright concerning if you don't take the initiative to care for yourself in any regard, because you're just kind of like, why should I? No, this is dangerous. This is something called, you are setting yourself up for failure. Oh no, a fire broke out in my house, but because a fire never broke out in my house before, I never saw the need for a fire extinguisher. What was I supposed to do to prepare for this tragedy? I'm being mean, but I'm also being super...
You're also like, you're mega salty about this topic.
I am, because when you have, like, friends, family, or such like that or so, that can take just the second to, like, look in the mirror or make sure that things are okay, and they don't, and they're just kind of like, why am I suffering for this? That's your fault! That's your fault! And just seeing, like, this kind of, like, not even situational, but willful ignorance in my own home, in my own chat like this, it's just kind of like, no! Stop it! Get some help! Because you don't want to help yourself! Like, I'm just being honest here.
On it,
This
Shadow.
is just me being as brutally honest as I need to be, because some people need to get it through their thick skulls. I'm not trying to be mean here.
It's really fine.
I'm not trying to go off at Calvin if that's what you think it is. It's I'm kind of like getting that salty at that friend of mine. Of like, take care of yourselves! Holy crap! Like, oh goodness. I'd want to say that like so many of my friends in high school had eating disorders. Or at the very least like, something along those lines, because I had one friend, that's the friend that I was really talking about, that literally never ate unless they were told to. I had a friend who probably was like perpetually fasting of like, I'm only eating like half a snack a day and that's all that I need, so I really don't feel anything else. I mean, when is it not directed at me, at least partially? Well, you do spread on conversation topics, I'm not gonna deny that. Gold medal, perfect day, by the way. But the problem with that is that, I'm just gonna be honest here, you have a lot of very bad tastes. Whether it be because I'm guessing that you're on the younger side, probably younger than me, so like young teens, so you don't understand how the world is really gonna kick your shins in. And that's not me trying to be mean. That's just me saying, hey look, I'd like you to be better prepared rather than be prepared to get your shit kicked in. Alright, I'm sorry if it's mean, but I'm just being as brutally honest as I need to be. Because things are not ever gonna get any easier with how life is. And I'd rather you guys try to be at least a little bit prepared, or at least a little bit knowing of your situation. Because I am so stressed out already with school just on the horizon. But I can function normally enough as a upstanding citizen of society, doing my part to take care of myself by doing just scandalous things such as, I don't know, taking care of myself on a regular basis. What? Inconceivable! I'm being salty, because I feel like I need to be here. Like, really?
Zero reason.
I have a good reason! A really good reason! Garlic, potato, tomato. God. Gosh darn it, dude. I've been so set back on this day of cooking, because I am so gosh darn salty, dude. But,
Cooking and
right.
serving.
Oh jeez, getting back to that, I messed up that day. You know what, I don't like the menu for this day, let's look back at it. But I had a friend who wouldn't eat unless they were told to, and would pass out on the regular and wonder why the heck that they were passing out. I had a friend who, like, I had one friend who, yeah, basically ate like a snack a day, and also was on that verge of like passing out every other day, and couldn't figure out why the heck. Like, legitimately, I'm saying these as well, like, with, like, just full knowing that, like, this is their situation. They're doing it to themselves, but they don't know it, because they're just being stupid on this end. And it's just... I had another friend, for instance, who just... Oh, man. I'm sorry for going off on people today, but when it comes to just taking care of your health, there's something just as simple as you are going to get yourself sick, and you're going to get yourself legitimately killed if you're not taking care of yourself. for the simplest things, such as, literally, like, Flying gets on to me about this all the time, but I check myself a lot at work because I'm just a little careless, and by little, I mean, it's like every other day at work. It's illustrated by my coworkers even talking about it now. It's like, I'm like one of the few people that gets injured on the daily. But that's the thing, is like, I don't want to be that shining example of, hey, here's Cruzy, here's what not to do at work. I'm getting injured by accident, but anytime I'm saying it's like, oh, I got injured, it's nothing to worry about. Flying is like that SpongeBob character, like, you what? And she's immediately rushing to just be like, did you disinfect it? Did you take care of it? Did you dress the wound? And as much as like, yeah, I understand it, it's just honestly, it's something that needs to be done, because I'm not gonna let something this small infected let me just sit. And while it does seem like an extreme case for like maybe like a box cutter injury that I sustained, I'm not gonna be stupid now, because if I'm being stupid with just being like a small box cutter injury or something like that or so, it's like, that's not gonna be like going well for just my psyche. If it's kind of like, don't worry, I just like scraped my leg slightly, but it's nothing to go home about, and then it's just going to spiral downhill from there.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, sweetie. When you say to me, like, because, you know, I asked you if you cleaned it and stuff, because I give a shit. And also, it's before you tell me what it is. When you say, hey, I've cut myself at work again, for all I know, you've got a massive gash across your wrist.
Okay.
Like, or not your wrist specifically, but you know what I mean. Like, you
No, I do.
you sliced yourself. And I'm like, but then I find that you've got like a tiny cut on your finger, and I'm like, it's still, you know, same applies. Keep it clean.
And that's just like, well, that's like the positive side of this is what I'm especially spitting so here, because the fact is that even if it's a small cut or something, it's still something that you're going to want to take like that ounce of prevention for, because quite frankly, if you're that careless with just like small cuts, like, it's like, here's a rhetoric that my mom always uses with me that I do hate, because it is true, and it does shine through with some really good examples from like some of my friends who are, quite frankly, I'm just gonna say slobs, or just lack of a better word, because that's just really what they are. If you're not like taking care of yourself, like whether it be making a bed, like washing up your face, presenting yourself like fine enough for the day ahead, that shines through like other facets of your personality, whether it be like you're actually keeping up with like not just your appearance, whether it be just like how your bed is made in the morning and stuff like that or so, but also in the fact of like, hey, are you like, if you're not taking care of just like something as simple as folding up a bed, what does that really show with like yourself of like, are you going to take that extra step to just like treat yourself right, take care of yourself, whatever such like that or so? And well, you can't necessarily equate making a bed, of course, to, I don't know, like dressing a wound. You still get the broad idea, like, it's still, like, I'm talking in very broad strokes of what's kind of like, look, if you don't want to take care of the small things, what are you gonna do when the big things come up? You're just gonna kind of not do it, is her point.
It's kind of like, you've gotten up and you're in your pajamas all day. Can I assume that you haven't had your shower today then? Like, and, you know, things lead onto each other. And it starts to spiral. I will admit, like, in terms of, you know, being a slob, I was and have been, like, whilst I've not had the facilities to, like, look after myself, in a way. But I have very recently started on a sort of a journey to improve that. So, I don't know what I was going with it. I always fail to make points. I'm not you.
Well, it is a very valid point, the fact that, like, hey look, like, you're presenting your own experience with it too, and it just shines through in the rhetoric, whether I myself like it or not, because Mom is correct about that. I'll just say, look, you just need to be able to take care of yourself. Perfect day, by the way, another gold medal for today, that's number 2. But, like, how hard is it to really just even be able to, like, take a shower?
Impressive.
Fine, what about you? How hard is it to take a shower? like the
It's not hard.
willpower to go and take a shower?
There are days where I'm like, and there are days where I don't. I tend to get one every other day rather than every day.
Yeah, but the fact is that, like, how much is it out of your way? Are you just kind of like, alright, need to take a shower today? Or is it just, I don't want to take a shower, I have to do this, gosh darn it.
For me personally, it's more like, yeah, I need a shower. Like, I feel like I can't be bothered, but I need a shower, so I'll go get one. Even if I have to wait till like 5 p.m.
Well, that's just like a very understandable thing, because I feel like that's shared by a lot of people, of just kind of like, oh, I just need to do this, oh, I just need to do that, whatever, stuff like that or so, yeah? But it's that difference between being able to, I guess, get yourself out and just say, like, okay, this is something that just needs to be done, versus, like, just that pure spiral of just
Hello,
like,
Chef.
I'm
Good
never
luck
gonna
today.
get this done, I'm never gonna get around to this, why should I do this? Or, it's so out of my way to do this, you know? If that makes sense to say, I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
Because, especially so, like, going back to what we were talking about with that slippery slope argument, especially so, even though that is a very bad phrase to coin, because, well, that's not entirely accurate. You can't, once again, equate making your bed to, well, like, preventing yourself from getting sick because of just you didn't want to, like, wash your face this morning. Because, once again, that is very inaccurate, but hopefully my point is being made of, like, if you're not going to take the small actions to take care of yourself, that's going to fall apart when it comes to, like, doing the big things of just taking care of yourself, quite frankly. Whenever it, like, in, like, whatever capacity that does come out to be in. Taking a shower, washing your face, even just, like, making sure that you look presentable, instead of, like, just, like, you know, the reaction, like, did you just walk out of bed this morning? Or, like, did a tornado hit your hair when you woke up? Because although those can be, like, harmless phrases, fact is that if you are presenting yourself every day, like, if you're going to your friends, and every day they're just kind of like, yo, Cruzy once said she walked through 5 hurricanes in a row and just and forgot something at home, so she had to walk through each of them again. Like, no, I don't want to be known as, I don't want to be known as bedhead hair Cruzy. She looks like she hasn't ironed her shirt in any day of her life, and she doesn't look like she wants to start anywhere now. No. I'm at least, you know what, okay, and there's logical extremes to that, such as when I'm visiting my friends, my mom wants to actually make sure I have all my shirts ironed. And it's like, dude, or just gonna, like, play some video games, or, like, watch, like, a Bollywood movie in, like, soft environment. And she's still like, no, iron your shirt. That's an extreme, but the point is still, but I'm still trying to push this point, especially so, of, like, I don't want to be just, I don't want it to be, it's like, what did you, like, what's something that you can talk about Cruzy? She's smart, she's funny, she's kind. She kind of looks like she hasn't picked herself up in, like, the last 5 days. What?
Yeah, that's how I present, I will admit. Like,
well, you say that, like, that's something that you worry about with yourself, but the main thing is that, especially so, when we put it to, like, pen and paper, I can't say too much because you're online to me, and yeah, while we do trade pictures every now and then, I don't get the full picture of it, but especially so, like, when it comes to, like, talking to your roommates, for instance, or so, sweetie, the biggest thing that I can at least say is that, like, however they see you, however they interact with you or so, in, like, any shape, form, capacity like that or so, can easily be spun by just, like, yeah, how you are. I am still a very much so introverted person by just my own nature, yet when it comes to, like, interacting with, like, my D&D group, my closest set of friends, they know me as, like, super, like, super cool, super confident, super extroverted. That's just because, at the very least, like, I'm trying to present myself forwards, and I'm trying to, like, push myself for that little extra bit, you know? I'm trying to really, like, get myself,
Have some fun today.
you know, a little bit more out of my comfort zone every day, or just trying these new things, whatever, such like that or so. Or at the very least, yeah, just being active, because whenever I'm, like, interacting with them, half the time, and by half, never mind, just, like, you can message them right now in the Discord, sweetie. You just ask, hey, like, how does Cruzy interact with you, like, on, like, a daily basis? And I will at least be able to say that
Fully
probably
charged
all of them
and
are,
ready
like,
to go.
she's, like, so, like, too active to the point that it's detrimental, because she's always asking us, hey, do you want to do this? Hey, do you want to do this? Because I've legitimately had to be told down by them. It's like, yeah, I'm actually too active for them, for their introvert selves. And it's like, you know, that is very fair, but at the same time, like, in my perspective, they are being way too passive, but I'm seeing where this discourse lies. Because they don't have the same social batteries as me, but fact is that, like, we're not seeing eye to eye on the same issue, because we're presenting two different arguments forwards in this capacity here, if that makes sense. I was kind of waiting for, like, does this make sense kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, I did the British thing of just going, and it,
Your
no,
proficiency
like,
with
Yeah,
this
but I
kitchen
don't
is
know if that's really
unmatched.
shown on
Let's do that again.
stream, or, like, being heard on stream, so that's why I was just kind of like, can I get a full response instead of just a, which might be drowned out for the sound of me mashing my keyboard here, so...
you know, that is very bad. I was about to say, like, oh, of course it would be heard, like, because my mic picks up goddamn everything, but yeah, the mashing of the keyboard is a good point. But yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm just trying... Excuse me, I'm just trying to quantify it in a way that can be understood. I messed up the stay again, gosh darn it. But... My phone fell
All right,
down!
chef.
Ah!
Show me what you got.
Uh-oh.
But, like... Especially so, like... Just how you present yourself forwards is one big part of it, sweetie, because... My confidence, I guess, when it comes to, like, speaking and such like that or so, doesn't just come from nowhere. It comes from, like, either situations that I've been put in and just am more comfortable with, such as my job when it comes to public speaking on that end, or, of course, I am publicly speaking to an unknown audience, depending on
We are nearing
if
the
I
next
get
stop.
just, like, you listening in, the usuals listening in, or, like, a random raid coming in that has no idea what my content is before I stream my head off and get caught in wind trace. I'm still salty about that. But, like, I used to have a very bad case of stage fright, but
You were
it
the
got
best
galvanized
chef
through,
ever.
at least for me, with band, with my job especially so, and through, like, public speaking classes I had to take towards my major, oral communication, business communication, whatever such like that or so. But at least, like, when it comes to you, like, whether, like, you say if you don't know if your friends or roommates, like, see you as a slob or not, the first things first with that isn't just hoping that they don't, but, like, trying to, like, present yourself in that better light, and not just like a, oh, I'm looking a lot better, and not my definition of a slob. No, I mean this as in, like, you can take steps to at least, like, hey, start working towards trying to look at least a little bit better, making sure that, like, hey, your hair's at least a little bit made in the morning. Hey, seeing if you can make it so, that your shirt may be, like, a little bit more straightened out, or just stuff like that. It's just small things, because although even though people may not comment on them, they definitely will notice them. I mean, that's literally what happens in just public environments all the time anyway, of, like, somebody may point out how cool something or somebody is, but they're not gonna say it immediately to their face all the time. Half the time when I see somebody with a cool shirt, I'm gonna go, like, to my friends, hey, look, that's a cool shirt. I'm not gonna go up, shake the man's hand, and just be like, hello, you're an inspiration because your shirt is so cool. May I get a picture with you? And I'm bringing this point to a logical extreme so I can present the absurdity to the situation, yes, but also to just say, it's like, look, it's not as far-fetched as you'd think it would be now, everybody. I'm just saying this as honestly as I can, especially so, because, well, is it? Is it as far-fetched as I'm making it sound to be, sweetie? Or not?
I mean, the point you bring up is, like, about the words from the ship, but, like, yeah, I understand exactly what you mean.
Well, if you understand what I mean, then I think I'm getting my point across, especially so, of, like, people will just make those mental notes about just, like, oh,
We are
okay,
nearing the next
what's a
stop.
detail I can maybe recall about this person, or about this interaction that I've had. I can barely, like, if I wanted to talk about, like, my friends in a capacity or so, for instance, so, like, I'm gonna use monikers, or just, like, things that stick out about them, about their personality. if I want to talk about like my friend in mod Q-Tip, what's gonna come to my mind? Oh, he's kind of like a huge Charmin Rider nut? Like, a huge Charmin Rider nut? And that's not to diss on him, that's just kind of like saying, like, that's the most discernible characteristic that makes him as a friend stick out to me.
Yeah, if I was to think of Q-Tip, I would think Kamen Rider. That's my literal first thought about the boy.
If I want to think about like one of my like my high school friends, like the ones that didn't feed themselves, that's part of what makes me think about them. It's like, oh, he's the guy who didn't feed himself, or he's the person who tried to go to that convention knowing nobody and only because a stranger on the internet said that he'd take care of all the rooming and board and whatever, which I don't know is a little sus.
That's
By a
very
little
sus.
sus, I mean a lot of sus once he discussed the full terms of what that stranger's arrangement is, which is not suitable to say on stream at all, so we are going to refrain from that conversation and pivot to another one.
Yeah.
But,
Speaking of another conversation, I am doing some graphic design work behind the scenes for when I eventually come back. I just wanted your opinion on it if you want to check your DMs when you have a minute.
sure thing, but going on from that especially, so, like, that's just, like, something that, like, comes out to my mind of, like, there's gonna be ways that people are remembered all the time or so, and if you're worried about, like, how, like, the impression that you may be giving off, that's, like, one thing. It's like, that's one thing of, like, oh, what am I seen as towards my friends? But you can also, at least, like, work for, like, in your own self-improvement, if you focus yourself on looking better in one way, shape, or form, whether it be, like, I want to, like, be seen as strong, so I'll be working out with my friends or so. One, that's kind of projecting, but also, two, if you want to project that, like, you're strong, or you're smart, or something like that, at that point, you might as well just put in the effort to actually be smart, or knowledgeable, or do the thing that you're trying to look good in, or whatever, you know? And I feel like that is kind of a, very hot take, because, of course, people don't want to put the effort in, or, like, the things like, now, this is a very old thing already, but just COVID burnout. Yeah, I can understand you to a degree, but at the same time, I also find it ridiculous to a degree of everybody is still moving at their own pace. Yes, I'm not going to deny that, but the thing is that in your life, if you're not doing anything with it, well, what the heck are you doing at all with it then? Nothing. Trick question. You are doing nothing because you aren't working towards improving it in any way or working towards how you want to be. If you say you want to be like a bigger streamer or something or so, put in the efforts to, yeah, exactly so, put in the efforts to be that bigger streamer. Put in the efforts to market yourself more, to put yourself out on that spectrum. If you want to be a better speaker, force yourself to even, like, talk more with, like, your own group of friends. You just gotta start somewhere with it. And that motivation that people are so much so sorely lacking really just comes to the bigger fault of just, like, it's like, you say that you're better at speaking, I have to speak more, but that's my problem. Where are you gonna start? Where are you gonna start? Like, that's, oh, they're out there on food. That is just me trying to be as upfront and honest here, because quite frankly, that is something that should not be hard to process. Somebody who is good at public speaking probably started from somewhere, whether it be in class speaking for, like, a presentation or something like that or so, or, like, in front of, like, a mirror trying to, like, say what their speech is, so, like, when they're running for student council president or something like that or so. I don't know. But the point of the matter is that you can start somewhere, and that's because everybody has started somewhere with what they do and such. It isn't as far-fetched as you think it is to want to be able to do something adequately well, or anything in that regard, but you can't just be digging yourself a complete hole of just saying, I'm not good at it right now, I'll never be good at it no matter how hard I try. No. A lot of people will pick up, like, their hobbies, interest in whatever, at pretty late in their lives and such or so. My dad, although he's already pushing in his 50s, is still, like, taking, like, classes, both for work and whatever that he has to do and such, but also from just kind of just our creative stuff. He started ballroom dancing with my mom because my mom picked it up, and she's also in her 50s or so. Yeah, they aren't doing it at like the prime of their lives where they can maybe enter a dance competitions and such like that or so, but they're still doing it. Why? Because it's something fun, something that they can learn. I messed up the one of the very last orders. That hurts. And
Have some fun today.
because they feel like it and they want to. Yeah? I'm not saying that you have to find the motivation to do something, but what I am definitely saying so is that, like, if you aspire to do something, just start somewhere. That's how I started streaming, and that's how I am where I am today, with 600 followers and maybe like 3 people, if you're including like my mods and whatever on my chat at all
We
times.
are nearing the next stop.
But am I taking that in stride? Yes. Am I disappointed? Definitely so. I haven't grown as much as my friends. Is that a problem? Not necessarily, because it's not my focus. One, because I'm a student and I've kind of made that prominent, but also because I know I'm not putting in as much effort as them. They deserve the success that they are given because they are definitely so putting in a lot more time, work, and effort. Both because they can, because they have the resources, but because that is something that is driving them much more than it is me being driven to do like my student duties and whatever, such like that or so. All good, sweetie?
Yeah. Just thinking, yeah, because I see people who grow like the goddamn moon, and I'm just like, I can see how they're doing it, and you know, obviously they've got the time, the resource to put in. I personally, I've literally not expected to grow anywhere because I'm not doing it. Like, and with you having your student life, you put VTube in back burner so that you can, you know, focus on your studies and get where you want to be in real life.
Yeah, and although I would love for it to eventually be to the point to where I can possibly just stream full time and not really have to worry about a full job or so, because it honestly would be a dream job and everything in between. Fact is that, especially with how the market is crunched and just looking at it from my realistic angle of how much I'm really splitting time between school and such. One, I don't want to be a school dropout because that just really doesn't feel like it's in the cards for me at all. Not because of like just like external pressures or anything, but just because I don't want to drop out of school on a whim that I want to become famous. Just buy this follow bot right here. I'm not gonna bet myself on a whim that I'm gonna be able to make it as big as all my friends, because one, different situations, I cannot compare myself to them. I cannot just say the same argument of they got famous doing this, doing X, doing Y, so if I just put in the same time and effort, I can do it. No. Different situations, different times, places, and also just the factor of luck in life of just, look, they made use with their situation of the hand that they were given. I gotta do the same thing, but my situation is never and should never be held to the same standard as them. Now, when it comes to talking about like self-worth or like doing things like on a like regular basis, or just like keeping up with keeping up with like regular. Shoot, I messed up that order, sushi. When it comes to like keeping up with like regular updates, or doing my best when it comes to talking about streaming, just keeping on schedule, doing the actual streams, stuff like that or so. That's another thing, because that's effort. But that's effort versus hopes. I'm just saying, oh, I hope I'll be as big as my friend. Oh, I hope that my content will be as big as them, just because I'm doing the same exact thing. Copying, mimicking your friends or whatever to like get the same effects hopefully as them, that's one thing. But betting it all just because they made it big, which means I deserve the same entitlement and success, that is the wrong way to go about things on a very unhealthy level. Because not only are you setting yourself up for failure with just how much that you are hedging on this bet, this uncertain bet.
Let's get moving.
Once again, those external forces are way, way different depending on where you are. Because I'll use like one good example, and also like you don't know the exact situation that everybody's had to go through to even get to where they exist now on the spectrum. The best example I can give of this would be like my friend Guppy Symphony. We've been friends for a very damn long time. Both like when we just about started VTubing in the community together or so. And although she's blown up to be like I'm gonna tab out actually while I have the chance here. I'll pull up her Twitter, for instance. I say she was. I think she's actually still streaming League of Legends right now. But if I pull her up on Twitter, she is sitting currently at 9K followers. 9,200 followers.
A great day for cooking.
She
Seth.
gets called out a lot on Twitter for just reasons that really shouldn't exist, such as girl streamer, girl gamer, or like relationship tweeter. Why are you only always tweeting about your relationship with Curious, at Curious, or whatever his tag is? I just want to make that joke right there. But the fact is, like, she's not just popular just because she's a girl. She's not just popular, but just because she's in a relationship with also a noticeably popular streamer as well, and such like that or so. She's got to go through stalkers, through doxers, through bad relationships, through moving across the country, through homelessness, through joblessness, through medical surgeries, injuries, emergencies, family losses, everything like that. So many different things. And if you're saying that you're like I'm just gonna like I'm gonna like really pull this take out of the water right here. If you're saying you deserve all the same entitlement to be as successful as them just because you're also like upcoming streamer or whatever, then put them all in their shoes. See if you want to deal with just the same amount of hate, same amount of issues, personal life, everything in between like them, and say that you're entitled the same way. Everybody's situation is different. I've struggled through like my own fair share of personal mental problems such like that or so, but if I wanted to quantify it, no, my own experiences are definitely not on the same level as some of my friends. I've lived a very much more blessed life in just, I wouldn't say easier necessarily to put it to a fault, but a very much so more relaxed life, I guess you could say, if I haven't had the same pressures. But that shouldn't be one discounting me on what I've done with my life, because I've actually had my own spare set of issues, and everybody's entitled to be able to talk about their issues. But I cannot compare myself to my friends on the unfair premise of, oh, like, you will never understand the issues I've gone through. We're all going through our own stuff right now, people. We cannot compare on a one-to-one basis of just, I'm a bigger number than you. I'm a bigger fish in this pond that we exist in. No, that's just wildly out there. Quite frankly, that is just, once again, very unhealthy to try to compare yourself on that spectrum. I'm gonna take a sip of water after I finish these orders because I am feeling my voice cracking after going off on 2 hot topics at the same time.
You really have, and it's not even been an hour.
Yeah, but that's because I really do enjoy talking, one thing first and foremost, of course, but also at the same time, and can I just say that's wonderful, sweetie? I'm seeing the DM now, and that is, yeah, just wonderful. But also, like, this is something that I feel I need, like, should definitely be talked about to a greater extent in a very healthy attitude of just like, look, it's something that is being laid on the table by me first and foremost. Hi, I'm the one that brought the table here. It's my stream. Welcome to the table. But also, like, it's something that we can at least try to discuss on this, like, on this very, very just like level playing ground, if I'm going to put it in that way, shape, and sense, if that makes sense at all, you know? I'm like, what? There's many ways that you can try to approach subjects such as these or so, and some people would, especially so, approach it in very, very different ways. If there's like a hater that like called out Guppy on Twitter or so, she's going to quote tweet them, she's going to call them out for their bullshit because she's not somebody to sit by idly. She's going to stand up for herself because she knows like how much she's had to go through, and she's not going to take that shit. And that's like her way of wanting to go about it. If I got somebody calling that out on me, one, of course, I'm going to be pissed myself and I'd want to respond to them. At the same time, two, I'm going to want to understand where the heck this mindset came from. Because especially so, with how wild it is on the internet, yeah, things are going to be coming from a lot of different spectrums when it comes to people, experiences, and everything in between. But a good part of that also exists from different sources of just like not like the dude trust me sources, but from the fact in the matter of like, hey, look, I feel like that since I'm logically better than you in one way, shape, or form just because I'm a guy, or I've worked harder than you ever have in streaming, or you're just only better, or you're just only getting these more engagement, streams, views, whatever, just because you're a girl or such like that or so. Or just whatever other illogical argument people want to throw at the window and see if it sticks.
Let's do that again.
No, I'm going to call that out too, but I want to make it clear that it's not coming from a sense of just kind of like, shut up, I don't like your argument, therefore it's invalid, but from especially so a sense of just, look, can't we just all get along? I can see where you might want to come from with understanding, yes, I'd like to be able to grow, like, on my own feet, for instance, because I'm not going to deny it, I am a very big fish in a small pond when it comes to talking about, like, my friends at Gale Force and such, but whenever I talk about, like, some of my other bigger streamer friends, like Serena, Chit, whatever, such like that or so, they much so are a lot bigger streamers on their own regards, but I cannot hold myself to the same level as them, even though I'd love to, or grow as much on the same level as them, as I'd love to, because I understand that they have had a different, like, experience, they've had a different community, they have a very different life that led them to this path of VTubing that we're all kind of, like, sharing the same paved road on right now, one way or another. And especially so, when we do put it out to that bigger pen, paper, and everything in between, fact is that, what? I'll use, like, the examples of, like, Chit and Serena, for instance, or so. What? I'd love to be able to grow as big as them, and, like, well, like, some people can say, like, oh, maybe they, like, aren't as entitled as you to their success. They have a much bigger support structure through, like, the FGC, or the people that I already know, their connections and such like that or so. And they're just working with it, that's just part of, like, how they are, part of, like, their brand, or just part of just that, how their community works, how their own personalities work, how their drive, well, kind of exactly goes. Whereas for me, I'm starting from scraps, I am starting from a very stupid position because of many mistakes I've made in my VTubing journey, and also for the fact that I am nowhere near as active on social media, nowhere near as active because of school, and a lot of other small things that you can also put into perspective. But the bigger things about it is that those are two very different positions, still even on the end of it all. And by two, I mean 3, 4, however many people I'm drawing into these examples and such. I've been droning on and on about this point, but I need to draw out these examples, especially so. And I hope I'm not boring anybody in the audience here, or you as well, Flying. But quite frankly, I really don't care because it's my stream, so I'm going to keep talking about it if I want.
That's the big thing, Sweetie Pie. I know you don't give a shit. I've learned that it's just better to let you go on, and you'll come to a point eventually.
I'd say that's somebody who understands their position. That's going to sound a lot more weird in the relationship setting. So I'm just going to shake my head, say yes, and alright. That's just how it's kind of going right now. Oh, jeez, dude. Oh, jeez. But really, though, like, when I put it to this very bigger picture of just everything that I am talking about, of everything that I am doing here. Hold on just a second. Just switching up my settings and whatever.
All right,
Excuse
let's
me.
get moving.
Alright, I just wanted to make sure that my settings and whatever were good for this incoming day and such. But yeah, especially so, like, I understand my position. I understand that my situation is going to be way different from everybody else that's had to go through
We're almost
their own
there.
different stuff. But that's just like me wanting, wanting to understand, like, both my position and also trying to just like be as cordial as possible, because especially so when you put it to those bigger logical ends, extremes, and everything beyond, there's a lot more. There's a lot more that goes to streaming, that goes to setting up things, that it goes to making sure that, like, things work as swimmingly as we'd love to on our entertainer side of things, because especially so, there's a lot more work that is constantly being done behind the scenes when we talk about this stuff than you may think.
You do the cooking?
Because
I'll do
there's
the
not like
driving.
streaming itself is a pretty demanding job, and that's not me trying to draw any sympathy cause for it, but that's also but that's more of just like, look, especially for what is a online environment, we have a lot more that needs to be balanced out. There's a lot more situations that needs to be addressed when it comes to the many dangers, hazards, and everything in between that comes from doing this stuff here. Whether it be coming out and talking about how, like, we'll use like one of the more recent examples, of course, of just like the hate raids that came on or so, or just like, of course, even just like our own existence as VTubers, when we then talk about, hey, remember when people were drawing a fuss about Project Melody about how she's not even a real cam girl because she's online virtual and therefore she basically has no rights to be on the platform? Now look at us now. We're kind of an accepted member of society, just as a spectrum if you want to put it there. And even then, it still causes a lot of smaller side controversy of just kind of like, do they really deserve to stand up on like the same spot as like other entertainers, as other media content creators, stuff like that or so, you know?
A great day for cooking, chef.
Yeah.
Which is something that really weirdly comes to a fault a lot more than you'd think, because of course being on the internet, we're gonna get a lot more hate, a lot more accessibly so, than people may think. And for online content creating, from a bigger perspective, that is something that people don't really realize is a much bigger problem than, excuse me, it's a much bigger problem than people may think, because let's lay out what I do on a normal day
A
of
great
content
day for
creation, I
cooking,
guess.
chef.
I am usually just like tweeting out my schedule, greeting the people in like the Discord that I'm in, aka just my Gale Force, which is my friend's Discord, and then my own personal Discord, which is still pretty dead by no stretch of the imagination, if I may be honest here. That's because I'm really not as active as I need to be. Keep that up. That's a entirely different thing to go on about here. Afterwards, I'm making a few tweets, talking about, like, interacting with people, saying, like, oh, good morning, whatever, stuff like that or so. And then also saying, it's like, how's your day? Hopefully you're doing good, such like that or so. Trying to get some engagement with, like, the things that I do, whatever, such like that or so. And then afterwards, just tweeting, hey, stream's going live, I'm doing X, Y, Z, whatever, such like that or so. And that's really it. Some people, like, maybe, like, guppy curious or so, or, like, find themselves just, like, bigger aficionados, especially so when it comes to, of just being active almost every day on social media, such like that. Just being able to create our tweets, being able to just talk about things, talk about their life, anything else in between, just on a much more comfortable spectrum, find themselves engaging just that much more in what I am. Some people are doing all their own editing, all their own clippings, such like that or so too. Some people are making their own graphics, art, and although I am making like my own commissions art, and whatever, such like that or so, that is one smaller spectrum. And while I don't want to discount myself from being an artist and being a content creator, my own art, my own content is not on the same level as other people, as much as, like, let's say for instance, so like Kane and Nate, for instance, who has basically made almost all of, like, the assets and whatever that they use for themselves, both in promotions and both in getting their name out there. All of the, like, they make so much pixel art, they always, like, put it out, like, either when it comes to, like, drawing an attention, such as, like, come to the stream if you want to be drawn, but also just kind of like, hey, I'm doing this fan art, I'm doing, like, these commissions, whatever, stuff like that or so, and they are always just constantly on a grind that is different from mine. Not to discount from me, especially so, but also to say, like, hey, look, he's putting in effort in a way that is very different from mine, but it's also very much so a lot more intensive than mine. Everybody's got their own different situations with how things work. Everybody's got their own ways that they're going about their lives and such like that or so. But especially so when you put it to this comparison, like, I am not in the same situation as, like, Kane and Nate, for example. I am not in the same situation as, like, Guppy Symphony, whatever such like that or so. As wherever we want to put anybody on these kinds of comparable spectrums, if you want to phrase it that way. And my work could not be held on the same level because my work is not the same as theirs, if that makes sense.
Of course.
You're saying something fun?
I mean, I was agreeing with you. Like, the work you do is completely different to the work, like, that anyone else does or that I do. You know, I mean, as you were saying about people making their own art, I'm literally sat here making my own graphics right now.
And that's also another thing. Oh, sorry, were you going on?
Not really. You can go.
I was gonna say that too, but that's another thing of accessibility or ability to exist on our different spectrums when it comes to like VTubing, for instance, or so. Because I remember when Iron Vertex was still like, you know, like big on taking commissions and such like that or so from people. One thing that came to a really big fault was a lot of people going to like bigger name VTubers and such like that or so and saying, you don't deserve, like, for instance, like, you don't deserve the same amount of support, or, like, you're only getting this amount of support, but just because you have a better model, or you had the money to spend on a better PC, or an Iron Vertex
Hello,
model,
Chef.
for instance.
Good luck today.
No. Bad take, very cold take, very bad take. I rest my case on Iron Mouse, for instance, to where she had been basically using a free model herself, but before she really got her own,
Alright, let's get
I guess
moving.
you'd say independent model. No, not, it was Nanners. Natasha Nanners. She'd basically been using a free model basically the entire time before VTubing was a big thing, back when she was still like on YouTube and whatever, especially so. And she milked that mileage. And hey sister, they just have a really good gaming chair? Yes, this gaming chair is baller. How did you know? We're talking about how you can't equate success you can't equate success to privilege or whatever just because like people had like better money, like more money than others, such like to starting like a career in like VTubing and like entertainment stuff like that or so. Because if you want to like examples, one famous example already, like I said, is Natasha Nanners, to where she just basically used a free model that wasn't originally hers, I believe, if I remember. And if we wanted to even get a lot more personal here, I exist. My artist that did my current model that you're seeing on stream right now, yeah, it cost me maybe about $500 or so in terms of rigging, like, whatever stuff like that or so, and also extra things like commercial rights. But the fact is, when we put it to the bigger grindstone, that was because I had the money to spare and I had saved that up as kind of like a Christmas present to myself. I remember commissioning her back at Christmas. Whereas, when I first started, with my old model days and such, you wanna know what I got from that? That was $5 bucks. $5 on Nazima to use that model. No commercial rights. No, like, no commercial rights. No edits or whatever. You could, like, freely edit it. So you could freely edit the model. She allowed that and such. But otherwise, there just really wasn't too much else. The model had expressions and such, but nothing too fancy smancy, nothing on the farther end as like the Iron Vertex boys and girls. I milked that to the bank and back. I got myself up to about like 500 followers, I think. It was like the last big celebration I had on that model, for instance. I got pretty darn far with that model then, wouldn't you say? And that was me with no experience with streaming, who had literally never streamed a day in their life. I just decided to start streaming. I downloaded OBS and Streamlabs OBS. I had, though now I'm just on regular OBS, because Streamlabs OBS, 1, kind of sucks a little bit in comparison, and also 2, took up a lot more GPU space. But I got that far with just downloading free software online, making my own graphics myself, and just $5. That's really all that I spent on my
Hey,
journey.
chef.
So I remember
Wow,
this used to be a really hot
you've come a
take
long
with people
way.
of like,
And
I
we
spent
couldn't
X
be
amount of
prouder of
money
you.
on
Wonderful
my
work,
model,
chef.
on my graphics, on my rigging, on my design. So why aren't I succeeding as much as X, Y? Oh, it's because they got this bigger model, or this bigger artist, or this is still a pretty prominent thing, which is sad. Of like, oh, it's just because she's a girl online. No, shut up. Privilege isn't a measure of success, but we can't deny the advantages of privileges offer and how less privileged people have to work harder for the same opportunity. Yes, very good take, because if we wanted to look at it underneath this bigger lens, especially so, the thing is that privilege, like, there's a good saying. Hard work beats talent once talent stops working hard. Short, sweet, to the point of, look, you may be talented, you may like have a knack for like streaming, you may already have yourself like a good advantage and like a head up of being privileged, of being able to say, oh, I literally got a better gaming PC. Oh, I have something that's a lot more fortunate to have than other people or so, such like that or so. What are you doing with that opportunity? Are you doing anything with it? Are you making use of that opportunity that you have? Oh, you're slacking off because, oh, I have the entitlement. I can get away with just taking it a little easier just because I have the resources or I have the time. No, people who, it's like searching for a job. As in, if you don't want to do the job,
Good to see you,
like,
chef.
it's the argument that like employers always use. If you don't want to do the job, I'll gladly find somebody else, like, way less fortunate than you, who'll gladly do it for, like, half your price, and for, like, double the time, whatever, such like that or so. Granted, that is a extreme that I'm using right here, but my point should hopefully be standing when I say this, of just, look, people will find opportunities when they're given, and if you're not actively trying to make the most out of the opportunities that you are given out, thanks to the affordability of your situation and such, anybody else will gladly say, I'm open over here. Pass me the ball, coach. I'll gladly take your place. And it's just, yeah, it's just as simple as that. There are privileged people who are also talented, yes, because they are the ones that are making use of that opportunity that they have been given. It is a key difference between being privileged and oh, what's his face? Hold on, I want to make sure that I'm not burning all the sushi and whatever here. Gotta make this sushi fast. Never mind. I maybe want to retexture the stay, because that's a lot of sushi I gotta make.
A great day.
There are
for
also
cooking, chef.
unprivileged people who are untalented and complain. Yes, but to basically boil down, especially so this bigger argument space, it isn't just about your situation of just where you are, but just that's like, all right, that's where you began this mission. Go, I guess. Yeah, that is where your starting point is, but you can still get to where you want to be through hard work. Although it is going to be a lot harder for you because you have because you are, especially so, you know, a lot more on the working side. You are a lot more in looking at, okay, I have to do this much more to even have the same gaming chair as anybody else has. And as we all know, you need a good gaming chair if you want to make big in the industry. But like when you put it to the grindstone, you need, like, there is that big top. Gosh darn it! I'm not gonna make 50 sushi before I can even get to any orders. But especially so when you put it to that bigger grindstone, as we were talking about before, of just like, hey, look, I want to have these great opportunities. You need to kind of like work towards it in one way or another. Yes, there are the wonderful ways that you can be given that leg up on the competition when it comes to being active, being proactive in doing 1, 2, 3, 4 different things or so. But your situation helps dictate, okay, where can I start? Or what do I need to work on next? And if you're complaining about it, just because somebody else had it a little bit easier, they might have had it, like, well, their situation that they're at right now that you're complaining about might not just be because they have it easier, but because they had to work towards making it easier in that sense, if that made sense at all. What are your IRL opportunities that you're trying to make the most out of? Good question, and not just because it's personal bias, but because I can provide a good answer for that. Looking for internships right now because my major course of study of international business either requires one, it requires me to have a internship independent study or a study abroad. I am working on the spectrums of all of those when it comes to doing these things. When you're talking about, for instance, like internships, we have local opportunities at locations that I would rather not say, otherwise it could possibly dox my location of origin. So we're gonna refrain from that. But the point is that I am doing what I can in the town that I am in right now. I am making the most out of it when I'm looking at opportunities that my college is sending me through the weekly newsletters, for instance, or so. When we then get to talking about, oh, they're sending out opportunities or job fairs or anything of that special sort. I am looking at what I am being offered at my current line of work, what they can offer me for like extra employee benefits, for instance, or so, or the opportunities that I am being given and possibly like moving up, since I am just a part-time worker as opposed to a full-time, which could of course offer me a lot more with the company if I choose to stay with it. Or if I don't, I fat-fingered that order. That sucks. And then I can just like use it as a good stepping off point to not only boost up my own resume, but to start looking at like just like bigger, better industries that I could apply myself at, for instance. Any of those interesting? Ever thought of looking elsewhere? It's kind of hard right now for me to say because it's one of those situations to where I haven't gotten my feet wet before, so I don't exactly know how to really start the gas, start the pedal in looking for these opportunities. But that doesn't stop me as, like, it is kind of stinting me a little bit because I am taking it a lot slower than I guess I would be, even though I am incensed in trying to find these opportunities and grow. And also make that hell of a, I'm not gonna lie from there. The fact is that I am still actively trying my best to make the most out of my situations and seeing, okay, what can be done? What can I do with the time that I have? What is available to me in my current situation, even as a student, for instance? Because that is something that just, I have the time, I have the drive for, and quite frankly as well, that is something that I can easily be working towards while even I'm at school, while I'm still doing my studies, and instance versa. Because when I start looking at it through a more realistic lens, I've still got myself a good, possibly, what's my timeline looking at again? I'm looking at about maybe 2-3 more semesters and a study abroad for my schooling career. If I can, I'd love to get it done in those 2 semesters, but otherwise I am just trying to do things as much as, hey look, at least do one thing a week, at least try to like find myself those opportunities. And even when it comes to like applying to internships, applying to jobs, just putting myself out there and doing it, because nobody else is going to be able to do it. That's something I have to do. As much as I may have my cold feet and trying to do whatever it is that I want, nobody else is going to do it. It's something that I'm just going to have to bite the bullet on and suck it up. Because once again, it's my own rhetoric that I was already talking about of everybody started somewhere with this stuff. Yeah, I don't like it as much as the next person, but guess what? They probably had to start somewhere too, so what am I really complaining about here? I'm complaining about a race that I haven't even started to do. Yeah?
Congratulations! That was
Real quick, I'm just gonna take a sip of water once I finish this ratatouille. Excuse me. Excuse me. Proud of you. Thanks for the... Oh, well, I gotta take another hydrate. Thank you, sister.
Uh-oh.
University has offered you an offer. There's what they don't offer if you don't work yourself. Exactly so. Because there's a lot of things that you can learn from just listening into your community, if I may be honest here. Because, yeah, you can do things at just like college, or you can just like listen to the things that are presented towards you, but at the same time, like, there's a lot more that can be done just by like listening to like what my parents are telling me about like opportunities or so. Dad, almost every other week before I had to kind of tell him to like tone it back, as I was honestly and very fairly kind of getting swarmed by it every other week while we were talking about like looking at independent study abroad after I told him that I have to do one for for my well, no, like just to even graduate because it was something that had to be done. He started bombarding me, and with all love, and I should say this first and foremost, he didn't mean anything, like he didn't mean anything malicious out of it, but I did get so many opportunities shoved down my throat that I started to basically feel sick in my stomach anytime things were brought up of, hey, look at what I found that you could possibly do. But it's coming from a place of love because it was like opportunities that like he had overheard while he was at his own work, or like posters that he had seen calling out for things, or like things on the internet that caught his eye, and those are things that I never found in college. Yeah, college is one resource, but that's exactly where it falls.
We're nearly there.
It is a resource. It is not the end-all be-all of everything that is being presented straight up to my face. They just decided, okay, yeah, but even then, like, I still had to kind of, like, put my foot down of, like, hey, you're kind of, like, smothering me right now. I'd appreciate it if you tone it down, because, look, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate it, but you are, like, saying, hey, there's everything that you could do right now. And I'm trying to throw this out here, not to diss on them, but just kind of, like, in a joking mood, as in like, look, I'm trying to be lighthearted about it because I know that they especially still meant well, but even then, it still was a lot on the plate at the time, and also that's when the break just started, so I was just kind of like, hey, can I just enjoy myself a little bit? Ah! You are smothering me with love! But is that necessarily a bad thing? No, because my situation, I have parents who are very loving and very much so giving me these opportunities because they want to. So, I'm not gonna argue with it, but it was a lot to take in at the time. Excuse me. Now, that, I think, oh, were you about to say something, Fine?
Sorry, no, I just finished my graphics work.
I did see it in the DM, by the way. I'd like to comment on it more under the other messages as well, but we'll talk about that
We are
more
nearing the next
off-screen,
stop.
because that's just how like graphics work stuff. Which,
Yep.
although I would love to talk about it, kind of doesn't pertain because the audience cannot see it, so that is something that we'll just show for the back burner for conversation in just a little bit here. Unless I was able to pull it up on stream, which I don't think that you'd want me to do for ruining the possible surprise that we'd have set up for when you get off my stream couch and are able to stream yourself again.
When I come back, all my graphics just be out.
Yeah. Yeah, just getting back to what we were talking about when it comes to just success and like seeking those opportunities. Yeah, once again, nobody else is going to be able to seek out these opportunities for myself or so. Because, like, look, I'm not going to get everything handed to me on a silver platter. Although I've had a lot of things handed to me on a silver platter when it comes to just, like, being lucky with, like, the hand that I have been given and such. Not everything will follow that same suit, that same kind of arrangement of just, oh, here's everything that you need to succeed. Go and have, go make merry, be wild. As much as I'd love for things to work out that way, that is a perfect 7-stop day, by the way. 336 orders all in a row perfect. God, that was a hard day. But I still did have to start one way or another. I still had to start
Wow.
somewhere. And
Pretty darn
fact is
impressive.
that it still is just me, because as much as other people may want to care about me, they've got their own lives to worry about, don't you think? They've got their own situations that they need to look at, that they need to focus up on, and quite frankly, just honestly take care of on their own spectrums and everything like that, you know? Because as much as I'd love to pour my love towards my friends, family, and everything like that or so too, there is a breaking point because, I'm just one person, and, I kind of need to take care of myself. Like, a lot of the times too now, yeah? So because of that, when we do put it up to that bigger grindstone of just saying, hey, look, I'd love to, like, help you find your job or come with you to, like, your interview and whatever. but we all have our own
Alright,
lives to
let's
deal
get
with.
moving.
And as much as I'd love to support my friends and family on those different regards, I can't always supply all that same love, time, and everything in between, you know? And so that's just, it's a sour thing to say, it's like, I can't be there for my friends at all times, but it just is a true thing. It just is something that is true. Because that is just life.
Ready?
We can't supply
Nearly
everything
there.
out to everybody that we'd want, as much as we'd love to do so. I'm just shutting up for a second here so I can try to finish these sushi orders. Or I could also just fill them because I am bad at the game. Ish. That is box of potatoes time. And I need to do sushi, carrots, crab, shrimp, mayo, asparagus roll. Got these up. Because I messed up those orders way too many times when I really had no reason to do so, and that really set me back on my order of operations really fast. Okay. Let's do beef, crawfish, clams, muscle potato time. Good. Let's look at pepper tip that's mint. Onions pretzel. Let's look at number 10. Meat, bacon, onions, red egg, red yolk. Look at number 11. Meat, bacon, cheese, lettuce, onions, pretzel. And let's make more sushi in the meantime. Avocado, salmon, mayo, rolled, cut right up. Let's make more sushi. Because that's just something that's always really needed. Carrots, crab, shrimp, mayo, asparagus, rolled, cut. Yeah, it's just...
Congratulations! That was perfect.
I'd love for free handouts. I'd love to like win the lottery and never worry about anything ever again. I'd love to just be able to just relax with my wife, just like streaming, playing games, everything like that, and such or so, just as much as the next guy. But realistically looking at it, that is a far-fetched want in life, and as much as I'd love for it to be a reality, that is something that is not probably going to happen in like the near future anytime or so at all, as much as I'd just wish for it with all my love, heart, and so, but also probably because playing the lottery would kind of help itself in that regard, very much so more than anything. It's just something that is it's just something that is a very much so different fault that I probably do not have in my control, because hedging my bets on, okay, what am I gonna do to have my life work out? I'm just gonna win the lottery. What? No. That's something that is just not something that you should be, I don't know, shooting for as your norm to be able to do? Question marks? That is something that really should not be shot at as, oh, just get lucky, Fivehead, as the kind of thought process that you're putting into for how your life should work out. Hard work is something that everyone should have to do. It's just hard, punishing work, but it's something that needs to be done. Because, well, everybody's in the same situation one way or another. We're all making money, all slaving away at our jobs, as much as we may like it or not. We're all just kind of getting through the very thick of things. I messed up this lasagna order. I need to throw this out. Sorry, whoever had that lasagna, but it's alright. I threw it out. You're just getting a new order completely. Everybody's got their own special situations they are privy to, and we are just making the most of it in whatever way, shape, form, place we are in. That is something that should just be at least understood on a more intimate level, I feel, because especially so when we start really looking at, okay, how did this person succeed? Well, throughout all their time, even though that they were constantly pressured by like their work or by their situations that they're in, they always found time to like be able to they always found time to be able to devote that little bit more to streaming and such like that or so, or they always found ways to support their friends or study up for that extra exam and such like that or so. Everybody is going through their own stuff. Well, it's what you do, even through those times of crisis, is what really defines you, because even if you are suffering through, like, a bad stint of, like, depression, even if you are suffering through a bad, like, case of, I'm homeless, no money, such like that or so, I can sympathize with you. I'm not trying to say that you have to be active in those situations as much so as like the next person, but it's all about what you can do after you pick yourself up, or even in those times of stress, times of need, that I feel is what really makes it so that you are showing yourself as a bigger person at the end of the day, of saying, look, I suffered through a lot of stuff, but I can still try to make as much of a difference or try to devote my time to my interests or hobbies or so, or anything of that sort, because, oh, I messed up that burger. Because when we really start looking at it,
Charged and ready
look,
to go.
I'd love to be able to do my hobbies all day. Quite frankly, I will also put off a lot of my responsibilities if I have the chance of saying, what? Why would I have to be active today if you're saying I don't have to worry about my chores? You're just letting me play video games all day? What? Yeah, I'll take that chance. But in those times of hardships where, yeah, I may have school, yeah, I may have work, and whatever, such like that or so, just that little bit extra edge of I'm motivating myself that little bit more because I have the opportunity to do this. I have the opportunity to possibly get to my games if I work hard, if I play hard, if I just get around to whatever I'm doing and such like that or so. That's a little extra mile that really shows its way, because especially so when we start looking at it in those bigger, like in kind of like the bigger picture connotation, you are still being motivated by one force, whether it be your interest. I forgot to give the guy the bun, that sucks, I'm messing up hamburgers all over again.
Cooking, chef.
Because you are motivating yourself on one spectrum, way, shape, form, or another. Whether it be because you want to, like, finish up your classes early, finish up your homework for the night, want to get your stuff done so it's over with and you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the night, for instance, or so. There's so much so it goes into motivation in getting work done. And especially so, if you want to boil it down to that simple essence, you want to get better at something? Oh, I guess I just gotta start doing it. Simple as that. And although, yes, I am painting it in a very broad picture and in very broad terms, I'm trying to just present it in the easiest way for this argumentative sake of saying,
Cooking
look,
and serving.
if you want to, like, if you want to get something done and you have the motivation to do it, what are you listening to me tell you to do it for? You can do it. Because that is something that you found yourself your interest in. That is something that you have found out that you want to do, maybe more than just like study or do something like for like your school classes or your work and whatever. Quite frankly, if you're already going out of your way, out of like your everyday life or whatever, to find that extra time to make that extra piece of artwork, or to play that extra game of like League or whatever, or to stream that extra hour or two, well, that's something, that's showing something about you of, huh, you know, maybe this is something that I am enjoying, or maybe this is something that I am finding enough joy in that I'd want to devote that little bit more time in, and whatever, such like that or so, you know? Also, I just keep failing these orders, and I'm just gonna switch from hamburgers because I think I am starting to dislike these more because I just keep messing these up, and this just sucks.
Fully
Like,
charged and
a
ready to
lot.
go.
Let's try pizza by the slice, and I feel like instead of having to prepare all of them individually, since it's pizza by the slice and not the what's his face, and not hamburgers where I have to prepare everything individually, I'm gonna have myself a much better time if I just can segment myself out of not having to prepare all of those hamburgers individually every single gosh darn time, dude. Chocolate strawberry whip. Let's get cookie dough. Strawberries, nuts. Yep. PSCR. Just like, getting back to the crux of what I'm talking about here. Especially so, like, look. If you found yourself liking something after doing it over and over again or so, for instance, or so, well, I'm pretty sure it's no coincidence that you're going to go out of your way to be able to do this over and over again, for instance, or find ways to be able to go back to like your interests or so. And that's good. That's a source of motivation. But especially so, that can apply to however it is that like your life is going, whether it be in looking at ways that you can easily look at. You can start a new hobby, for instance, with being able to prepare yourself for a new spectrum in spending like your commissions, or your artwork, or your hobbies, such like that or so. It's all about just like being able to push yourself in those directions to be able to say, it's out of my comfort zone, but I want to get better at it, or it's something I really enjoy, so I'm going to put in that effort to continue to make it as good as I can make it, and everything in that sort. And I don't think I worded it the best, but hopefully my point is being spread across as well as I'm hoping I am explaining, which, well, to be honest, I am kind of being very broad and being kind of all over the place with what I'm talking about here. So, here. Let's slow things down. Let me repeat the crux of my argument here. If you are finding yourself your motivation to do something because you are enjoying it, that is no coincidence, and you should be putting in that extra effort into something that you do enjoy, because, well, that's something that you yourself are already finding yourself enjoying, finding a good love for, and quite frankly, is something that, well, nobody else can motivate you for besides you. Because, well, for obvious reasons, that's you. You're not gonna do something just to present, like, well, unless you're trying to really paint yourself in a different light for people, which honestly is the wrong way to go about things, and you're doing something just for the sake of, yeah, I lift, how could you tell? Yeah, I go to the gym, how can you tell? No, that is not a way to go about it. You should be doing things that you are yourself enjoying, because you will find both those kindred spirits, but also find yourself your own kind of, or your own kind of community, your own kind of people that you can like mesh with, and also just find yourself in just like, oh, I'm able to get lost in like sewing constantly, or I'm able to just relax when I'm just like meditating, or like when I'm just like making art, or even like streaming to like a logical stream, for instance. Everybody is gonna find their own ways to make themselves tick. It's all about making the most out of the situation that you are not only finding for yourself, but you are finding out about yourself, if that makes sense. Because especially so, everybody's gonna find themselves in a hobby. Everybody's gonna find themselves in something that makes them not only just be an all work, no play kind of person, if that makes sense or so. There's gotta be something that makes you tick. And if you haven't found it yet, well, now's the time to experiment, probably, while you have possibly that extra time on your hands, while you have this opportunity to be able to look around and say, alright, I think I might want to try this out because it interests me, or it's ticking up my alley of what I might find cool or hip to do, or swag, or YOLO, or whatever other outdated phrases. That was a bad attempt at comedy. I'm not gonna do that again.
Please do not.
But, getting back to that major point, it's especially so just, look, you find yourself something that you want to do and you stick with it. That's what makes it unique for you, but also what gets you out of the bed in the morning, every single day. I'm getting out of bed, not only just because of like my work, school, and whatever, but because every single day, I'm working towards a goal of like, I have like a con coming up in this day, or I have, like, I understand the future, or I have this plan that I want to put out there and do with my friends and such like that or so. There's always things that I'm trying to work myself towards to be better, or to be able to do with my friends, for instance. And especially so when I look at it, it's just like, yeah, that's something I want to work on, or that's something that I need to get done for today. It is always something, like, it's always just things that I can be able to, or that I can look at and just say, alright, this is something I want to get done, this is something that's getting me out of my bed to go shopping to earn money at my job. Because I want to
let's get moving.
make more stream improvements with the money that I have. To buy better things that make me look better. Whether it be art, overlays, whatever stuff like that. I want to be able to buy that extra, supplies for cosplay and whatever. I want to be able to provide, or like just be able to even like chill out with my friends on a day-to-day basis. I mean, heck, they're probably gonna be spending so much money when I'm on campus now, treating out one of my friends who has actually transferred colleges, for instance. And since they aren't going to the area, I'm literally just gonna be taking them out to like eat every other day, just saying like, hey, here's the local delicacies here in town unnamed for the safety of the streamer, otherwise she doxes herself. But really though, like, that's something that really is getting me out of my bed. Especially so, not just for school, but also for being able to hang out with my friends, for being able to make the most with the opportunities that are presented forwards with what I could possibly do with those same friends and such like that or so. With, yeah, just everything else that comes to the bigger fault of just saying, hey look, this is something cool that can be done, this is something I can do with XYZ person, and especially so when it comes to my own prevalent interests of like cosplay, VTubing, everything of that sort. I'm actively working towards with the goal in mind of I can make this next stream better, I can make this next cosplay better. How am I gonna do that? Through getting this from working at my job to buy the resources, through like modeling this, through doing this or so. It seems like a little self-indulgent to be talking about myself, but I feel like I present a good example of this, of I'm trying to keep myself on a always working mind, because I find myself very complacent if I'm just not doing something to just be able to just say, I'm not doing something, alright, chit-chat, relax, just lay on the ground and do nothing. Flying can attest, because I usually do that all the time after, like, the shower, for instance, to where it's just, alright, what do you do next, Druzy? Do you immediately get up so that way you can start working on your next thing, or, like, start working on dinner so you can get to bed and sleep faster for the next day? No! Showering is an important part of my process. Like, laying on the floor after I shower is an important part of the process. Can you vouch for me on this part?
I can indeed.
Yes.
Laying on the floor after a shower takes pretty much the same amount of time as showering.
No, it does not. I do not spend like 3 hours on the floor.
Let's do that again.
That's called a nap. It's not called a lay on the floor session. That's because most of the time I found myself relaxed and I found myself not wanting to do anything on that regard. So whereas otherwise, if I'm like getting out of the shower because like, oh, I need to dress up to get to be able to go out and see my friends or anything of that spectrum and such or so. I instead then am like, yeah, I need to get up, I need to do this, I need to do that, etc. Whatever. So cosplay crunch season for any cosplayers in chat or so, especially know what I'm talking about when I then get to talk get to talking about how I need to get 15 things on this bucket list done in the next 3 hours, or I'm toast and I'm I am a failure to the cosplay society. I am not. Nobody should ever have to be, but at the same time, if I'm not presenting myself forwards, what am I doing with my life? And that's an anxiety, but at the same time, that's something I'm presenting forwards of, good. It seems a little out there, but it gets me out of bed. It gets me going, it gets me motivated to keep doing what I'm doing day by day. Whatever such like that or so. Even if it is, once again, I am pulling from a logical extreme of a spectrum of you have 3 hours before the con starts. Get it done or you are a disappointment to your friends, even though you said that you'd be working on this cosplay way before the con started. I'm saying this just as a good comparison of like, look, you can at least be I'm motivating myself on a very far spectrum here, but we can also still but you can still motivate yourselves, everybody, on 1 or 2 different ways in saying, hey, I should be able to fix my bed today. I should be able to shop and find myself a new shirt or something today, or such like that or so. Even there's so much more with your time. Not saying that you have to every day. That's just me being a spaz with always wanting to do everything. But on the other end of that spectrum,
Sweetie.
what? I'm being honest here. I'm kind of hyperactive with everything that I do. Don't deny me this. I am. I'm just being honest here when I say this.
You being spaz.
I kinda am. I really kinda am. Don't deny me this. It's true. You know it.
Alright.
I'm just being honest here. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. But I'm always super hyperactive. That's just how I'm being bad for the reason of I need to check on my 3D printer because I think my thing finished printing and I want to start on the next one. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Wow, Cruzy, you really are being a energetic little spaz. Maybe it's because it's the last day I get to enjoy myself before school kind of takes
Alright,
all the wind
let's
out of
get
my
moving.
sails, huh? Are you still here, flying?
Yeah. I am in bed though.
You gonna sleep in just a second?
Probably so.
Well, just fall asleep to my soothing voice, as always, as you always do.
Mm-hmm.
But, especially so, when we get back to what I was talking about on motivation, you have to remember that that is still what the heck happened to... What? It's so delicious? Hello? What the heck happened right there? Okay, that is something weird that has never happened in my history of Pizza Delicious, but I would take that as a funny sign of, holy crap, that is a cool bud that I'll get to report to Chubbagins later. But, yeah, get back to what I was talking about, my own, to my own energy and everything like that or so. When I do look at what I want to do, it very much so does come out to a lot of just like, ah, darn it, I messed up the order anyway and I was falling behind.
You do the
But
chicken, I'll do
it
the
falls down
dragon.
to a lot of like my own creative works, whether it be VTubing, whether it be cosplay, or just wanting to be with my friends. I find myself constantly just working against like a soft time limit of just, well, time that I can get with like my friends, for instance, or so. Time before like this convention, time before we're like back in, of course, school, which that time is kind of up because, you know, school is tomorrow for the good bit of my physical friends, which of course sucks, but what more can we really do about that situation here now, right? But that is the time limit that is working on my mind, and that is just something that I myself am kind of just kind of like wrestling with, if that made sense. I'm just like, look, this is what is driving me because I only have so much time in my days before okay, I then have to look at it and say, my friends are gonna be busy with their lives. I'm gonna be busy with my life, for instance, or so. I'm gonna be yeah, in school, away from being able to do anything active or anything cosplay, or like cosplay season is kind of out of style and I won't have to worry about something like that for a good while, for instance, or so. There's just so much that needs to always be done in my mind and not enough time. That's what's driving me, because if I can try to get myself ahead of my own little internal schedule when it comes to working on XYZ thing or so, I feel like I'm pretty good on my pace then, you know? I feel like, yeah, Trixie's doing a good job. She said, oh, my phone!
Again?
Well, that time I moved my foot and then it caught the charger and it pulled my phone off the stand. But
Shit.
we're good. We're good. We're good.
You're gonna break your phone one day.
Well, I did drop it down like a good flight of stairs the other day, but
Keep
thank
up the
goodness
good
I
work.
have a OtterBot, and those things are built for iPhones, I am telling you. But especially so, like, getting back to what I was saying, yeah, I'm kind of working against my own little internal schedule of myself because of just, I guess, the standards that I am holding myself to in those regards. Because whenever I'm looking at things, I'm always looking in that spectrum of, okay, what needs to be done for this creative project? What needs to be done for this thing that I want to accomplish in the future? Whether it be a cosplay, a plan to hang out with my friends, a way to be able to, like, get to hang out with them, whether it be just right timing, whether it be, just like a school assignment, a cosplay plan, a plan to just like get together and such like that or so. I mean, heck, one of my local friends in my group for playing Pump It Up, the DDR game that I play, is actually moving out at the end of the month, and we're trying to get plans together so that way we can see each other one last time before he moves out. And I'm having trouble planning that
Good to see you,
because
Chef.
school's in the way, life's in the way, everything's in the way, and it's just all over the place in that spectrum itself there. That is an internal thought that is getting me, of course, stressed, because that's just the life that I am kind of signing myself up to do and such or so. but it is my drive every single day to be able to be active in one way, shape, or another, and such. If that especially still makes sense, because, well, that is just the raw truth of it. That is what's getting me out about whatever every single day. It's what I can do with those days. It's what I'm able to do with those days. And what gets me exactly so going to get out of bed and do what I can. And that also extends to like VTubing, for instance, or so too. Of like, look, there's only so many days I'm going to get, especially so with my break ending, that I'm gonna get to stream. So I'm gonna make the most out of every single stream that I can get. And although I will of course preach myself forwards when I get to talking about setting up for, darn it, I missed the jumbo orders. Whenever it comes to self-care, like putting like my family first, like I did a lot of the time during this break, there is a lot of opportunities that I'm constantly taking to try to just make better with my craft in VTubing, for instance, whether it be taking as many collabs that I feasibly can with my friends, my name out, doing like my commission over the break, even though I have a few, and a good amount of them, unfortunately, are ones that I cannot share out publicly because of like pre-debut, for instance, or so, or other stuff that, although I'd love to, it is stunting my growth, but that's not something I can control, so I shouldn't be complaining about it. But like, that's another thing that is keeping me moving and keeping me trying to be, as I already said before there, active during this time that I have. Because, well, oh darn it, I fat-fingered the button. You don't need me to tell you
Hello,
twice
Chef.
and saying,
Good luck today.
hey look, there's so much work that needs to be done, but never enough time. That's always been the thing that I've always preached. But, especially so when it comes to that bigger fault of saying, okay, what am I gonna do with this time that I do have now? Slack off. What? No! Work yourself to the bone, Cruzy! And then that's where I started getting myself in trouble, because like I said, it's stress in my mind of always wanting to be on top of things, of always wanting to be working on things. Every single waking second of the way, I almost messed up that order because I pressed space too early, but it's all good now. We just continue on as if nothing bad ever happened, because nothing bad did happen there. We are still moving along just fine. It is... Oh, no! I'm messing up my orders because I'm mixing up these milkshakes. Maybe I should move off, because out of those drinks, the milkshakes are one of my weakest ones. That's not the one. Is this the one? We'll take let's real quick. Hold on. Let me get myself back in my mindset here. Milkshakes are hard. That is something true. I don't think I struggled too much with Taiwanese shaved ice now, did I? I don't think I did. Jumbo's fine, I can prepare that just fine. And just continue treating moss? I'll probably do that. But yeah, I am driving myself up a wall, trying to be productive, but that's just kind of like how I like to work myself, how I like to keep things going, and just exactly so, just how I guess I operate, especially so. I know everybody works at their own pace whenever it comes to these things, and, well, I'm not going to disagree with them because, well, exactly so, that's how they work. That is something that I can't change about them, and quite frankly so, that is something that they have to put on themselves. That's something that puts me at odds with a good amount of my friends, for instance, because I am, well, always freaking working every single day, every single second. And that's funny because half the time whenever I find myself my free time, I'm always kind of like at odds and ends with working with my friends because of those exact reasons. Because, oh, the free times that I have are completely separate from what my friends would exactly call their own possible free times and such like that or so. It is just completely different from what they're able to work with in their own schedules and such like that or so, which is funny, but also sad in the fact that I am somehow
Chef.
distancing myself from my friends in these ways because I am messing this up, or not messing this up, but because I am just like, well, working things on a, what you'd say is a completely different spectrum from them in this sort. I am just kind of, I am literally built different. Yeah, Cruzy, you don't get him with being built different. That is not the best thing to always be able to pride myself on, because that means that I am not able to hang with those friends. It's exactly so. And that's also funny with how it's kind of made me a little bit, I wouldn't say like pariah, because that's the wrong word, but it's kind of like a bad role model in one way, shape, or form, because I have had people always like talking about like to some of my friend groups of like, I'm like one of the more active people just existing in like my personal like IRL friend groups, for instance, or
Amazing
so.
work, Chef. That was your best
But
bet.
that does drive some people away, and I think I already mentioned this earlier on stream, with just like, why the heck are you so active, Cruzy? Do you have to be doing something at all times? And, oh, I fat-fingered K and L.
We are
Darn it.
nearing.
Gotta restart the day for that.
You
But
do the cooking,
it kind
I'll
of
do
does
the
come to those
driving.
faults, just quite a little bit so. Because when I do get to looking at it, I am working on a kind of different wavelength than other people may expect. Or like, people may be used to, I mean. And especially so, that is something that is really, really difficult for them to adjust to, because my own normal, like what I consider like I am like working normal time, seems like much tempo to them. Seems like I am going much faster than what they're used to. And quite frankly, I don't fault them for that at all, because I am working a lot faster than what you could say a general pace is for a lot of people. Milk, kiwi, boba, black. Bean, milk, mango, boba, black. Chocolate kiwis. Raspberries, vanilla, rolled. Forget you. Strawberry, straw, mango, boba, black.
On it, Chef.
With nuts, raspberries, vanilla, scoop, rolled. Mango, chalk, mango, jellyfish. Okay, Taiwanese shaved ice isn't as bad as I remember it being. Because I actually, yeah, I thought to myself that I succeeded pretty well with it before, and yeah, I am succeeding with it pretty well right now. But yeah, that's just something that's always come to an interesting fault of with how active I am in comparison. But then again, my IRL friends, and this isn't a diss on them, because I understand where they're coming from, but are very much so a bigger introverted bunch, and are not as active as me when it comes to half the stuff that I do. It's not a diss on them at all. I'm just kind of like saying that, like, hey, look, they just aren't as active as me, and I understand it. I don't mean to like drive any wedges or drive any faults with that or so, but it is just kind of funny with how many times that actually does come up to a fault of like, hey, Cruzy, we kind of need a break because you are being way too active for us. Or you are doing way too many things at every moment, waking time, that we kind of can't deal with everything that you're doing right now. And to that point, I say, you know what? That is honestly completely fair, and I understand that. Something, alright, so let's change this, because I think I have been joining on this topic for way too long now. And I feel like was bad, because it's kind of like part of content where I don't want to reach, where I'm just filling time for the sake of filling time. Something that I do want to talk about is my plans for the future school semester in terms of like what's going to happen to VTubing from there on, because, well, quite frankly, it is a very, very valid point to bring up, and to that I answer you with, I am going to work on commissions in the background as much as I can, of course, because, well, that is something, I don't know, kind of important with the people that I have commissioned, but I do hope that they are patient with me, and I did set it out to them, saying, hey, I'm kind of a student, and I kind of have to have my life together with that first, as I am student first and foremost, but
Keep up the good
should
work.
you find to keep on working on it in the background, that's just going to be kind of like a daily homework for me, that I'm gonna, well, exactly so, want to keep working on, day by day, everything in between, because when I do look at it, there is a lot of things that I want to be able to get.
We are nearing next.
I didn't finish that order of shaved ice!
All right, Chef.
Ah!
Show me what you got.
but there is a lot of things that I want to get done with VTubing. But first things first, I already laid out my priorities, and guess what? It is going to be those commissions at least, because that is something directly that I am offering out as a very big that I am offering out as a service online, and I intend to fulfill it out to the people that I have loaned out those commission slots that I have basically. Loaning out a commission slot sounds wrong because that's not exactly how it works. Of course, did he want kiwis? He didn't want blueberries, that's for sure. I messed that up.
Fully charged and ready
But
to go.
it's something that I need to look at of... Like, what? Okay, look. It's something unique that I'm offering, but there's also something on my head that does have a soft time limit of my commissioner's patience. And although many of them have said, take your time, there's the difference between, of course, take your time, I'm in no rush, and also like, hey, I kind of like an update on what's going on. And granted, I feel like I'm a good person to work with because I am very punctual and I am always trying to give as many updates that I can when it comes to working on this stuff. But it's also still like something that, it's always going to be nagging in the back of your head of like, hey, this kind of is a side hustle that you got going on right now, and it's something that you could be constantly working on too, Not that it's anything to discount it on or so, but the fact is that it is something that does exist for me to have to take care of. Because, well, it's my commissions. Nobody else is quite literally able to do them. It's something unique that I'm doing, and quite frankly, not only is it cool because, well, it's, one, it's Fire Emblem, it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart, but also, two, it's something that I am very much so just kind of like, I guess, intertwined with. That's Boba Black, not Boba Pink. Oops. It's something that I very much so am intertwined with what I
Show me
do.
what you got.
But also, like, I guess part of my branding, because last time that I opened up my commissions, for instance, I feel like I got so much more interaction than I feel like, because it's true, checking this analytics, which is kind of like a funny and a sobering thing that was kind of sad. But I definitely am over it, of like how I got so much more interaction on that as, I guess you could say, an artist, more than I've ever gotten with anything for VTuber. Which is like, I know for a fact I lampshaded it in a post, as I said, oh, I guess I'm an artist now. Both in the fact that, hey, I'm opening up my commissions, this is something really cool. And also the fact of, oh, people are, they only liked me for the cookie in my pocket! Fudge! I fat fingered that again! Wait, did I? Yeah, he didn't want blueberries.
All right. Let's get
Darn it.
moving.
But also for the fact of, there too, of saying, hey look, I want to be recognized for the thing that I find more fun in. Not saying that art isn't fun, but I started VTubing to be a streamer online, and although it is a good side hustle, it is still a side hustle that I am just keeping as a side hustle, and although being an artist is kind of also cool, I want to make money being a streamer, because that's what I'm finding a lot more fun in. So excuse me if I'm being a little pretentious, but I'd love to have a little bit more interaction on this side of things. Okay, no, this is definitely a pretentious conversation I'm having right here, because I'm saying that I'm entitled to this. What did I do with that order? Because I am saying I am entitled to being able to succeed as a VTuber, while not succeeding as an artist, whereas some people probably definitely want the other side of the spectrum. So let's back off this little high horse that I have established myself here, and let's look a little back at where I am right now. There is 3 slots that I am working on right now, commission-wise. I probably want to market out my last one, but I also might just like shut it back to, I think it was just like 2 commissions at most that I ever really had when I was in the school semester, which I think I definitely will just go back to doing. Because I don't want to pull myself thin, because I don't think I've actually discussed it on stream yet. One thing weird that's going on right now is that I have not gotten any syllabus from any of my professors. Probably because we swapped from one online software to a completely new one between fall and spring semesters, which one is a really kind of, I don't know, bad way to go about it, with the fact that I don't know. I've been kind of used to it for the 4 years in college that I've been in right now, and the fact that they changed it, probably because I think if I remember hearing the rumors correctly, the contract with the previous one expired. The fact that, you know, I only got a primer course from Pyro, one of my chat members, on how to like use this new software and such, for instance, is one, a problem because besides like the automated example, for instance, there wasn't any real way
Congratulations.
to prepare for this change or so. Also, the fact that like I'm guessing the teachers are probably adjusting to it themselves means, oh no, classes are probably gonna fall behind way much more than they did before, and that is, I don't know, something that I don't want to look forward to of classes falling even more behind, because I know in my own experience from high school that when classes fall behind, things get crunched in both the timeline and in the lessons you are learning. It impacts the learning environment, and at least especially so if there's going to be like online classes that we're going to have to deal with, which with Omicron just kind of existing out here, you know, I am not that confident in the fact of every of my teachers to be very tech savvy, because while I may get a good end of teachers of being able to deal with their things. That's a raid. I'm gonna adjust that in a second here. Strawberry cold roll. But that's a raid. But while I'm not while I'd love to trust my teachers and be able to say they got it down pat, some teachers really don't know how to use online softwares, and that really blows a dent in my learning experience. It's Chich and Metsu. How's it going, everybody? It's my last stream before I'm back in school, which means it's my last scheduled one. How was Goose Game, you two? Because I saw that prepared on the side for you guys, so I was really wondering how you'd enjoy it, because I actually, like, to be honest, I remembered only because of your tweet that, oh yeah, they kind of have a co-op mode for Untitled Goose Game now, so that's something to, I guess, look forward to when I watch the VOD later. You guys beat the game or nah? But for those of you coming by for the first time, hello there, my name is chatreuseproxy. I'm a mage from another world who's come by to this one to enjoy yourself. Currently, I'm going to be a student in... No, I fat fingered the wrong order! That's gonna be a restart.
Let's have some fun.
You beat
today.
it? There you go. But I'm going to be a student starting tomorrow, because it's my second semester, 4th year of college that I am kind of in right now, so I'm just making the most of my day. Playing Tritzer of Delicious right now, for those of you that have never seen it, which, as you can see on the side by my keyboard, is a typing game about you are part of a food truck crew that is preparing food across the nation. It is very intensive. It is very much so one of my favorite games, but also kind of very much a lot of stress at times. But I enjoy myself, and I feel like it's a really good conversation game for me since I've got myself a good down pat cadence with how I prepare the food, that I can keep up a conversation without it kind of droning on. But yeah, I was just talking about my plans for the upcoming semester before you guys came in here with the raid, because of how I am, well, one, didn't become a student again, or going back to being basically on only guerrilla raid hiatus due to my student status, really taking the wind out of my sails since I'm going to be at college and at, well, just part-time work for like all of my days now again. But also for the fact of, hey, what am I going to do from here on with my VTubing career? Because one, I have commissions that I need to take care of. Two, I have friends that I'd love to support. Three, where am I going with my VTubing career? And for that, I say, haha, it's a hobby. So, not really too much. I hit B for blueberries instead of L. Darn it.
All right, chef.
But yeah, like I was
Show me what you
discussing
got.
earlier too, like how, for instance, I do have 3 commissions on, like, out of my 4 slots that I had opened up for the break. I got 3 of those slots filled up, so I was working through them. Well, I say was, I still am working through them, because I am nowhere near done with a few of them. Still got a lot of work to do. But that's gonna have to be slowed down a lot more, and good thing I put it first and foremost with saying, hey, I've kind of got a lot on my plate because of, well, I didn't finish rolling that Japanese crepe. I hate it.
Chef.
Because of, well, school getting in the way there. So I'm just gonna have to slow my pace down, but that doesn't mean I want to stop VTubing completely. It's like what? This is, well, I started VTubing 2 years ago, 2020, and I don't have any intention of retiring anytime so now or anytime in the future. It's definitely gonna be an on and off thing for me, and thank you, sister, for support. I see what you are saying there. I cannot get a good day going,
Hello,
can I
Chef.
here?
Good luck today.
But it is going to be a lot of work that I'm gonna have to set myself forwards to, because in no way am I financially stable to be able to say, hey, I want to like take my time, chill out, and just VTube for my career. That is a pipe dream. It is also, well, not a pipe dream in the way of that is something that's never going to happen, but in the, look, if it's going to happen, which I'm going to make it happen through my sheer willpower time that I have, or some other way, maybe I'll drive heaven to say, hey, could you give me a shout out on the Twitch main page? I'm going to make this VTubing career work one way or another. Mark my words. But for now, with where I am in life, look, school is still that first priority. As much as I'd love it not to be, it's something that I am working on, and it's something that will have to just be continuously on the top of my mind for at least the next few months or so. And by months, I mean year, because I am looking at possibly looking at study abroad, I'm possibly looking at summer classes, which means, haha, your timeline for being able to do anything else, Cruzy, is kind of being pushed up by a really big amount to be able to just chill out, do anything else with your life. Because I want to hopefully graduate by this coming fall semester, so that would be fall 2022. That would be the earliest that I can. Worst comes to worst, I'm probably just gonna have to round out spring 2023, and I am in no rush to graduate, but it still is that kind of like pressure internally of like, hey, I want to be able to get out there, already get to like, I guess like a stable job, and especially so leave the nest from my parents. Not saying that it's like it's a problem living with them or so, but you know, I don't want to be burdening them with just me being home for the next few years, and especially so with, you know, my track. Yeah, I am gonna be a 5-year senior from how it's prospecting, and that isn't inherently bad in itself. It kind of feels like, you know, internally to my own side of things, I'm falling behind my friends. I'm behind the curve, even though we've already talked about it in person, and my parents and, well, everybody else has said kind of like, hey, don't worry about it, we'll still be friends, or there's no pressure on you. Hey, Cruz, do you have any pressure on you? There's no pressure on you to have to graduate in the same amount of time as we did, or to do everything in like what you set yourself up in this kind of like makeshift timetable schedule that you put yourself to. It still is something that nags in the back of my mind of like, you know, I want to show what I'm doing with myself. I want to be able to say, aren't you proud of me, guys? Look at where I am now. And quite frankly, that's kind of recursive logic on myself, considering how in VTubing I'm like, I'll take my time. I have no expectations for myself. I can take everything at my own pace, however I want it to be. And then real life, I flip everything on the head and instead say, no, pressure yourself, tell yourself you aren't good enough, tell yourself you aren't doing enough. What? You know, I'm realizing this myself, and maybe I shouldn't be stressing as much as I am. But hey, it's still like, you know, it's a hobby versus real life. No! I pressed the space bar and I put strawberries here instead of strawberries there. Ah!
Good to see you, Chef.
Darn it. darn it. But especially so, like, when it comes to, should maybe actually take myself a little less seriously, both on VTubing and also just in real life when I say, hey, take it easy on yourself, Cruzy, because there's a lot worse things that you could be doing with pressuring yourself to have to do things here. You should just take things in stride and just do things at the pace that you want to do them at. I'm saying that to myself right now, and I'm starting to feel good about myself again, because, look, school will be like the one big driving thing that will kind of get my brain in a rut. That's something that I feel like, yes, alright, I'll definitely be able to do. I'll be able to knock out of the park in time. And what? That's artificial time limits on like, hey, when's this project due? Hey, when is this due and whatever. But I'll get those done in time, and it's just a passing thing as always. I'll stress about it. I'll stress about my classes. There's no doubt about that. But I can get it done because, heck, everybody else before me were taking the class probably had to do the same thing and probably went through the same thing. So if they did it, or if they didn't and they flunked out of it and they just told me, hey, don't do the same thing as I did, well, I have head start in some capacities then, don't you think? It's funny too, because one class that I did want to look at is, oh man, it is the only class I've ever failed in my school career, which is
Amazing work, Chef. How was your
business
best
analytics, which is a purely Microsoft Excel class that I'd like to chalk up to both to be really hard of just a subject itself, but also because I had a horrible teacher that really,
We are
even
hearing
though
that
I
song.
really disliked Microsoft Excel just because I just don't have any jaw to it, but also because this guy was a horrible teacher who had very bad standards for the class, and also, I don't know, if I wanted to give out any examples on how bad this guy was, he never taught in class, and instead he made us watch lecture videos of himself teaching the class from 2014 in a 2012 class. Actually, no, the earliest date I saw on some of those lectures that he had recorded from himself was 2013, actually. So using 8-year-old videos to teach this one class, then expect us to be caught up and like expecting the perfection, greatness, whatever he expected out of his classes probably from back in 2013. What? No! I got enough in that class! And also because it's really hard, and I wish I could recount how hard it was to everybody else. But the least I can do is tell some of my friends on the business track of things as well to just don't take him. Or take the other person who teaches the class, as that's what I wanted to do. His class was full this time around. I got screwed out of it this time, so that's for me on one end.
proficiency within the kitchen is
But
unmatched.
on the other end,
Do that
I was able to save a few lives of my friends by telling them to don't take this person. Ever. If my dumbass can finish college, so can you. There you go. Because C's get degrees, and although I want to be a good student, I don't have to be the best student. I don't have to be perfect. And quite frankly, that should just go as a mantra for a lot of things in life. You don't have to do your job perfectly. You don't have to be, like, employee of the month with everything that you do. I mean, okay, depending on field, of course, that can drastically change. I don't want to make sweeping assumptions, but I'm just saying, in life in general, I don't have to be as perfect as I'd like to hold myself to. Quite frankly, that's a unhealthy standard that I just should not be holding myself or anybody else to begin with, or so. I'm glad that I don't hold anybody else to it, but I do hold myself to it sometimes of just saying, this needs to be perfect, this needs to be right, and that's what kind of draws me in a rut sometimes of saying, oh no, things didn't work out 100% the way that they did, so I'm going to stress and fuss about it, and just groan and moan about how, oh, woe is me. I didn't get up at exactly 5 a.m. this morning. I got up at 5:01, and because of that, my whole life is ruined. I am being very, very much so facetious when I say that, and drawing upon a very, very far argument just for the argumentative sake of saying, hey, look, if I can joke about this and recognize that that is just a inane place to really draw upon stress, I should be able to do this. It's just all about getting through it all, and especially so if I'm talking about it from my VTubing spectrum, like I said, just accepting the fact that, hey, look, I'm not going to get to do everything I want in record time. I'm not going to succeed as much as I want in record time with some of my friends because, well, I am a student first and foremost still. And there we go. I finally got that day done. Holy crap. That freaking hurt. Like a lot. But I got it.
Chef,
I got it done, and I am very,
good
very
job.
happy with that.
a couple.
Okay. Oh, I skipped past the results screen because I got too excited. That took me so many tries. Holy crap. That hurt a lot. I don't want to do this day. That's got a lot of things that I am not comfortable with there. Typing is hard, people. Let me say that first and foremost. Typing is really freaking hard. Let's put ribs. I need hard thing. It's either that. Actually, no. I can prepare another easy one. Dirt shooters is easy. Instead of prime rib, I can put pasta sour pie slices on there, and then we can do this day. Let's go. I'm happy with that. That's another gold medal perfect day. Excuse me.
Good to see you, Chef.
But yeah, it's just, especially so when I start looking at it from these bigger spectrums, I shouldn't be stressing as much as I constantly am, because there's only so much that I can do myself on an individual day basis. And I shouldn't hold myself to unrealistic standards as much as I'd love to be able to do as much as some of my other friends or so in the VTubing spectrum. And I'm using VTubing because, well, how else would you guys be listening to me right now? But for me, being a student, it's just a whole nother argument of like, look, I do not hold a candle to anybody else because, well, I shouldn't be holding a candle to anybody else. There is no reason for me to be doing as much as what some of my friends are doing, because that is a entirely different argument and tree that I am barking up, rather than saying, oh look, I can succeed because I have the time on my hands. I don't have time on my hands. I gotta... You forgot? You missed
Hello,
every
Chef.
single
Good luck today.
letter on the keyboard, Cruzy. Do you recognize how much of a failure you are in the kitchen? Get out of my kitchen, Cruzy. But like, yeah. Like, look. Guess what? I said it myself, and I've kind of been droning on about this as the point of this whole stream. Now I'm a student. Why should I succeed on the same spectrum as people who have all the same time to be able to, like, to be able to VTube or to do the same work as me? No. That's it. That's the wrong mindset that I am looking at right now. That's a peach pie, not a pumpkin pie. Let's try that again. Crust, strawberry, lattice, butter. But we'll just work at it one day at a time. I'll tell you this though, one thing that I am looking forward to, that I am being a student again, is on-campus dining. Oh, because guess what? That means I'm gonna get so many Panda Express pictures again for everybody, and you guys are not prepared for how much Panda Express I'm going to consume. I am balancing my diet, so those of you that may want to be worrywarts, don't be alarmed. It's just that Panda Express is like one of the easier accessible food sources, so because of that, it's pretty nice because it's just right in our university center, so I can just grab and go. And the portion sizes in Panda Express are, I don't know, kind of pretty big. Pumpkin is you, okay. It's kind of pretty big to where I don't ever usually finish it all in one go. So that means I can just have a good bit of it. Plus, I can have a good bit of it in the moment, and then I can then just, keep it in its box, enjoy it for dinner later, and it's cost me as much as, I don't know, like the on-campus, like, Chick-fil-A, which is so gosh darn popular. I've literally never eaten there once except for on a weekend to where there's nobody there, because who's going to be on campus on a weekend? Okay, I'm going to actually pivot conversation here. I want to talk about Chick-fil-A, because I have a good amount of friends who work at Chick-fil-A, actually,
No problem, Chef.
and I want to present this forwards as kind of like a query for people. I fat-fingered V and B, gosh darn
You
it.
do the cooking, I'll do the driving.
For me, thinking about it, no, remember this, I'm presenting this forwards from a college perspective. At least for this year, I have no time between my classes. Like last year, I had a good amount of time between my classes to where I was able to just say, okay, I can chill out for an hour, hour and a half, and then I have to go to my classes. And that was, to my next class. And that was, well, each of my classes for the for last semester. This semester, I've got 5 minutes in between or so, and even then, I know like some of my friends who were able to be like, all right, I'm gonna I'm not pick up, but I'm gonna run to the UC, buy myself like some like sushi from like from one of the small stores that we have on campus. We have something called Pods, which is short for Provisions on Demand. They're basically like miniature gas stations, is what they function as. And it's like, okay, grab and go. But even then, like, for me, whenever I had, like, maybe, like, that hour and a half to be able to enjoy my food and whatever, or, like, find myself some food, we had, like, Panda Express, we had, like, a pizza place, a, like, smoked ribs place on campus, and such. One thing that boggled me is the line for Chick-fil-A. Maybe it's because it's just Chick-fil-A, but I'm not too partial to it, even, mostly because, one, I don't see the appeal in waiting for, like, 5 hours in that line. But that's the thing. There's so many people that gladly are like, yeah, it's Chick-fil-A. I'll wait in this line that's 5 times as big as every other line on campus to get my Chick-fil-A. Like, do people really want it that much? Like, it's worth it, bro? Okay, maybe I'm just jaded, but hear me out here. One, I'm not too tied to it, but that's because one of my past roommates worked at Chick-fil-A. Not the one on campus, but he worked at a Chick-fil-A that was kind of along the road near campus, and so because of that, I got Chick-fil-A basically for free every other day, because he always brought home free food of like, hey, we had some like extra chicken sandwiches that we didn't finish. So because of that, I kind of got it almost every other day. Plus, he also got to bring home like the extra sauces and everything too. So that was really cool. But at least, like, I'm presenting this in the light of, I have like an hour before my next class. What am I gonna do? Wait in line for 50 minutes of that hour to get Chick-fil-A. It's great. I'm not gonna deny that. Don't call me a heretic for that, because I will admit Chick-fil-A is great. But I don't think it's as great for me to be like, yeah, on my stressed out, or like, on my currently stressed out brain, I'm going to gladly wait that hour and a half instead of like being able to like sit down, relax, and study or whatever for this Chick-fil-A. That's just my brain thinking on it. But then again, I am the minority on this because so many other people are like, Cruzy, like, Jesse, what the heck are you talking about? And will gladly wait in that line for 50 minutes. It just seems a little inane to me of like, really? You're just gonna wait in line for the entirety of your break for Chick-fil-A. You had Chick-fil-A privilege? I did have privilege, but that's exactly part of it too, of like, yeah, I kinda had that, but I only had that for a year. I didn't have it for the entirety of my college career, and as a matter of fact on that, one thing that really funnily comes to mind when I talk about that there too is, I didn't have this one friend who worked at Chick-fil-A. One of them was my roommate, of course. I had like 5 of them who all worked at Chick-fil-A. One of them worked, actually no, 6, because I had one who worked on the one on campus, even too. But for me, it's like, my point here is, I should also put this a little bit more into perspective as well. I'm not trying to diss Chick-fil-A, but when there's like a Panda Espresso line that has 2 people in it, you can line up and get served immediately. Or a Chick-fil-A line that literally goes outside the building. In my mind, I'm like, I'm not gonna line up in that Chick-fil-A line and wait the entirety of my break. But some people are like, is this where the line starts? Yo, Chick-fil-A, is this where the line starts? Anyway, I guess power to the players. I mean, if you got skin in the game, you're willing to wait in it. You're willing to wait in that line, I guess so. But for me, I don't want to wait. Like, I want that instant I guess, like, yeah, I'm on that instant gratification camp. I don't want to wait in line for 30 hours. Okay, that's an exaggeration. For 30 minutes for Chick-fil-A. When I could... Did I hit D? I hit D. Okay, I did hit D. I don't want to wait in line for 30 minutes for that Chick-fil-A when I could just get my Panda Express right now. Because the fact is that Panda Express being next to that Chick-fil-A means, nobody ever goes to Panda Express. I get it all to myself, suckers. Okay, that's obviously not the same for every day, but you get my point. I had to wait in that line. It's gangster. It's worth it to you because you have options. You know, that is my privilege speaking, but I'm just saying for the argumentative sake of Chick-fil-A by itself as an argument. Your Honor, the judge, jury, ladies and gentlemen, Chick-fil-A, death, not death, but hopefully you'd see my argument in not as bad of a light as I am presenting it forwards, because definitely so. If you pass by any Chick-fil-A in America, you'll see that the line doubles back, and people every single day are gonna be like, yeah, it's the shit. And to that I say, well, you know what? I will agree with you. It's the shit. But you wanna know what's also the shit? Not waiting in line for an hour and a half. But once again, I'm the unpopular opinion here. So, what room have I got to speak? Everybody else should just say silence, non-Chick-fil-A enjoyer, and just say, Your Honor, look at this person. They've probably never eaten a Chick-fil-A in their life. Do you really want to listen to them about their privilege? Chicken hater. Yep, here we go. This is where the VTube drama comes in. What do you mean? This streamer doesn't like Chick-fil-A. I'm gonna teach her a piece of my mind. I am stirring the pot for no other reason than stirring the pot.
Excellent job.
But I will stand by my opinion here. If you're gonna wait for an hour in Chick-fil-A, well, that's your own gratification. But for me, that's the sunk cost of I'd rather spend that hour getting to actually sit down, enjoy my food, and get to my next class on a full stomach and not worried, rather than everybody else who's just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm running to my next class and you're gonna be waiting for it, but it's worth it. And to that, oh, to each their own. You know what? Like, what? I'll give them that much, I guess, but I'm not gonna give them that much credit. Because to me, you are really sinking your teeth into something that's just, once again, a little inane. And by a little, I mean pretty inane. Burnt parm, chicken breasts. We can do the seafood. Seafood's easier to prepare. Let's do that. It reminds me too of like how like one funny thing that happened on campus is that we had 3 subways on campus before, but all of them except for one of them shut down. We had one in like one of the main buildings, so pretty popular all the time or so. We had one that was hidden away in the theater building, which we called the secret subway, because nobody ever, not at the theater building, it was I think like an arts building that nobody ever really knew about. It was pretty hidden away, so yeah, nobody ever went to it, and for good reason, because, well, it's I say for good reason, it's Subway, you're not gonna go too wrong with it, but it was pretty nice, and it was just, yeah, dude. Some of the Chick-fil-A, some of the longest Chick-fil-A driving lines there have been the longest and effective, fast customer service I've experienced. Went to a Popeyes, no one waited for 45 minutes. That's fair. I won't give credit to Chick-fil-A because of my own coworkers. I don't work at Chick-fil-A. My own friends who have worked at Chick-fil-A. And yes, they are super efficient. I would say this like for instance too of like whether it be darned if they didn't still go out of their way to, instead of like you just ordering straight through the intercom, somebody just walks right out to the cars in the mile-long line and just goes, alright, I'll take your order, don't worry, I'll relay it back to the people on deck, we'll get your order sorted out, so you're probably like already eating it before the line's even over with. And to that I say, amen, you guys are doing God's work. How the heck are you not freezing your butts off in the weather that we are currently working in? Because I passed by a Chick-fil-A today when I was coming back from my eye appointment. They are stronger than the U.S. Marines. It's my pleasure. Really so. I don't understand how some of my friends got hired at Chick-fil-A because some of them are some of the most crude people, and yet they find it so fulfilling that that is really part of their life. And to them, I say, Chick-fil-A, you are reforming people. They are strong. You are stronger than the U.S. Marines. How do people, like, how do they, seriously, it's so like, I wouldn't say horror movie, but it's like, you know, like every like military movie in that spectrum to where it's just like actually like, look dude, they somehow reform the people that work there to be just as sweet and as like as the stereotypes go, which always surprises me, but then also doesn't. It's like, once again, the friends that I have working there are some of like the weirdest or like definitely not the nicest people that I know, and they just turn out of the ringer just completely, yeah, completely my pleasure. It was like, don't worry, no worries here, sir, it was my pleasure getting to serve you today. What? How did you turn a new leaf to this? Chick-fil-A? once again, doing God's work. How did you do this? How did you reform this person who I know
Will do, Chef.
bashed 5 cars, has done many other stupid stuff that I would not be able to tell unless I want to get demonetized on stream. Which... What? How did you get this person to act this way? This is not the same friend that I had before. They would crack a crude joke and then fart before they drove off into the sunset on their huge truck. I don't know what I'm spitting off. I did go to an all-guy store, so what I am saying there is actually pretty factual, but my point still stands of like, dude, Chick-fil-A, reform. Don't send people to the military, send them to Chick-fil-A. They will reform. They will recant their heretical ways and turn a new leaf just to say my pleasure to you. And have it unironically be my pleasure. Why do I hate Chick-fil-A? I'm just talking about how people will wait in lines forever for Chick-fil-A. And for me, it just seems a little inane. Talking from a college setting. Of like, if I have class in like 30 minutes, I don't want to wait for the entirety of the 30 minutes, a little bit more to get my food. The Lord's work and the Lord's chicken? Yeah? Yeah. Even if they are closed on Sundays, they are still, you know, churning out their numbers. You can't argue with the facts. They are kind of, I don't know, making things very much so work. If I would change my tire, give me a HUD, and pay my bills, there you go. I mean, RDC World's how Chick-fil-A workers be like, is I think the best, it's the best example of like, oh, what's wrong, man? Oh, I got a flat tire. Yo, you got a flat, help him out. I don't know how to change a flat tire. What type of customer service is that? Oh my god, you don't know how to change a flat tire? Get out! You're fired! You don't deserve to work at Chick-fil-A. Saying that nonsense, you don't know how to change a flat. Like, yeah, dude, Chick-fil-A workers go so much, so more beyond than anything we can ever ask for them. Ratatouille. Get that going. Get those games going as well. I did 1 tall coffee, please. Tall? Doppio? Tall? Venti? God. That's another thing of like, I've had a good amount of my friends who also work in Starbucks too. Which I find always funny because they present some of the funniest stories as well of like, that crowd of like, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee is a wild one because it's very funny too of like, it's either like, the stories I've heard from them, it's like you either like the regulars who always order the exact same order all the time, or you get those eccentrics who are like, yeah, I'd like 1 tall frappe with extra caramel shots, maybe a little butter inside of it. Can you make sure that the ice cubes are only sliced to perfection in perfect fifths? Do my trigonometry homework, and also make sure that I land this job interview. All within the small boba straw that I specifically requested that I know you don't have, that's just gonna piss you off even more.
Order up.
Like, the specificity of these people that order from Chick-fil-A surprises me so, and also does not make me envy not working at a Starbucks because that coffee crowd of people scares me with, you know, people are cranky without their coffee, whatever stuff like that too. But like, holy crap, if people want their orders down to a T, and wow, yes, it is a service industry. When you say, hey, I'd like to have like literally the words, but also in this specific order, you have to put it on in this specific order, and I'm gonna monitor you, and if you don't do it, I'm going to write a letter to your manager to point it, and possibly throw that back in your face. No, I must have No! My own medal! It's ruined! It's ruined!
Pretty good.
Oh! My perfect day! Oh! My perfect day! It's gone to the ashes! Alright, well I guess I'm redoing that day. Gosh! Darn it! Seriously? Oh, well, I'm gonna have to clip that for later. Oh. I only know one thing, it's called the pink drink. I know nothing, because I've only been to Starbucks like twice ever. Starbucks, is it cold? Yeah. The people who want that stuff really are very much so adamant about getting it. OMG, pink drink is so good. What is pink drink? Is this some sort of Starbucks thing that I'm too peasant to understand?
Charged and ready to go.
Also, sister, have you watched any more Nishijou? Because I don't think I ever recommended you a website, which is a fair one on my part.
Incoming
But
flash
also, it's Nishijou. I'm going to ask you if you have watched any more of it. Unless ice water counts, you can get ice
Real
water
nice shoe
anywhere.
protects.
Like, seriously? That is no basis to say, yeah, I went to Starbucks. Yeah, I went to this famous pizza place in town. What'd you have there? Water. Huh? Yeah, I drink. Oh, really? What kind of connoisseur are you? Ice water? Get out! Get out! You can't say I went to Ed's specialty place here. I went to this famous pizza place. What'd you have? Salad. Why'd you go to Ed's pizza place then if you're just gonna have a salad? It's premium water. It was the only thing I ever got. Send me a link. Don't want to end up the dark web by accident. Well, if I may be honest with your sister, because I don't have money for memberships on any anime sites, I just go out to pirate websites that just kind of have it, like, or crack the websites that have it for
Let's do
free.
that again.
And they aren't gonna get you any. I messed up that order. Those websites, I can send you a link after stream.
Have some fun
Those
today.
websites aren't gonna get you viruses. They do have pop-up ads to where if you do get if you do short them, you are probably gonna get viruses. But it's like the very obvious ones. It's like, you know, like the hot singles in your area, or like the very suggestive pictures that are saying like, don't let anybody walk in on you while you're playing this game. But then again, if anybody's ever watched any anime on any crappy websites, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'll send like one over to you, but yeah, it's probably just gonna have like maybe a risque ad of like a girl in a bikini, like an anime girl in a bikini with like, play this game. It's like, play this game free. Don't let your significant other walk in on you. Or like, what's the joke phrase? Try not to chum in 5 seconds playing this game. It's so ridiculous, but like, yeah, that's probably those ads there. But it is trapped to websites, but you are getting to watch it for free, so I'll gladly just like full screen it and just not care about it with ad block. We get 5OA9 PPR. They don't play the games? No! Those are viruses! If you need me to tell you that, well, I'm glad I told you that, but holy crap! Jokes on you, I don't have a significant other. Don't worry, YouTube's ads got it all covered. Yo, I can't believe that's still a thing. Of like, you know, like, those like really creepy, like, kids date YouTube videos of like, OMG, Elsa pregnant? And then it shows like something that's really blown out of proportion on like those weird ass kids videos. Like, you know the ones I'm talking about, hopefully, chat?
Ready?
That like weird thing when kids date became a really big thing talked about? Because those things weird creep me out because thank goodness it really didn't show up in my recommended too much more. Just because, you know, YouTube algorithm works in weird and mysterious ways, but like, that is a side of YouTube. Like, dark web, I sweep. Kids date YouTube, that is the weirdest crap I have ever seen. And thank God I've never clicked on those videos, otherwise the algorithm would be like, you want more creepy kids stuff that should not be suitable for you, nor should the kids it's marketed towards watch? No! No! Get that stuff out of my face! Spider-Man, what are you doing with my mom lightning McQueen? So you know what I'm talking about there! It's like, it seems so out of place, but at the same time, it's out of place for a reason, because it's like, what the heck is going on here, dude? I'm getting incensed over this because I am legitimately worried for like, who is this marketed towards? This isn't even a creepy pasta. This is just creepy. There's no pasta. There's no culture with this. This is just, what is this? What the hell is this thing? I've seen ads of flipped off the game with pimples, worm stuff. Yeah. It's like those exact ones of like, you can tell that it's like, it's very much so like disgusting. Not like in a laconic way, but just a pure disgusting way.
Amazing work, Chef. How was your best
But yeah,
work?
just that's just something that I'm just like totally flabbergasted at that it exists, and flabbergasted that nothing has been done about it. But it's YouTube. A lot of things aren't going to be done in the pursuit of YouTube. There's one good ad from a game I've seen. Well, I don't know. Well, you know, there's that Final Fantasy one, but I feel like that game's kind of fallen out of favor because people have, one, gotten old of it, and also, two, Final Fantasy 14, despite that one meme, is actually a really good game, even despite the fact that I only really played it during a trial period. Because a lot of my friends have joined the retirement home there, to be honest there. I am not going to deny that fact. They have joined the Final Fantasy retirement home, are unabashed, unashamed about it, and quite frankly so, I don't fault them considering it's just a really solid and a really good game. Let's make more ratatouille because I don't want the other ones to go bad. Our ribs are gonna be good. You just prepare it while that meatloaf parm is cooking. Is that meatloaf parm or is it like eggplant parm? It's eggplant parm. Okay, my bad. My bad. Okay, we got everything for this last one here. But yeah, circling back to things. Ads are weird. Dark web is something that unless you honestly go out of your way for, you're really not going to find it because, well, it's the dark web for a reason. And there's a lot other stuff that you really talk about the dark web rather than, oh, I just want to watch this thing pirated online. No, there could be so much worse stuff that you should be seeing if you honestly do earnestly seek the dark web. And I'm not saying that from experience, I'm saying that from a friend who has been on the dark web, and you know, like, if you stare at the void stares back. There is a lot of weird stories I've gotten from them that I'm in no way qualified to talk about, because once again, one, I haven't been on the dark web myself, and two, for good reason, because I don't want to. If that is something that is out of my field, I'll just gladly stay to like animeplanet.com just so I can watch the newest Demon Story without paying for like a Crunchyroll membership or something, because I'm stingy. Well, not stingy, because stingy implies that I have money to spend, and I don't want to. I just don't have money to spend. Which is a entirely different conundrum, problem, and something else to talk about. So anyway, me not having money means you should give me your money. Give me your SIMP money. Shh.
Wow, a perfect run. That's incredible.
I am happy with that run there, dude, because... Whew! Was that a day? Because I really pissed myself off after messing up the last order there. But, yeah, if you're still here, sister, don't worry. I'll send you a link to a safe website as long as you don't talk about any other stay ads. I got you, homie. I got you. How many more days do I need to do? I need to do 4 more days before I am done with this world. It's getting to 11. I want to get my rest for school tomorrow. So you know what? I'll end it off on that note. I am going to be very, very much so happy with where I have ended up. And I will just, yeah, end stream there. So thank you everybody for joining me on the very last stream before I do go out to school. I'll just play things by ear for how things go with the rest of, well, my school year. I'm definitely not streaming tomorrow because I have work tomorrow and then, you know, immediately school afterwards and everything of that sort. But if I ever do decide to stream anything again, whether it be collabs, just my own solo content, I will keep you guys updated, planned, and pinned over. So thank you everybody once again for just coming on by. I had a wonderful time. Thank you again to Chick, of course, for coming by, giving me the support. Especially so since, well, you know, it kinda brought a lot of people over here. But we are just going to send the love over to one of my fellow members of Gale Force. It is Z, who has still been streaming for... Holy crap, she's been going for 6 hours now. Well, she is an endurance streamer, so there's that. Thank you for the pun, Rachi. I don't want to acknowledge it, because I want to do my ending thoughts. Wherever you are, wherever you may be, whether you're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, or more, thank you all for joining me today. It's been chatreuseproxy, your wonderful windmate, your cruise ship captain. Wherever you are, wherever you may be, whether you're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, or more, have yourselves a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and night now. Thank you for everything that you've always done for me, through supporting me through each and everything that I do, and have yourselves a wonderful time. Cruzy will be back on, well, school semi-hiatus, Droa hiatus, I should rather say. Thank you for all the support, and let ourselves have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody. Thank you again. I love you all.